BotezLive! What is up, everyone? You read the title right. Tomorrow, I am playing in a $100,000 poker tournament buy-in. Oh wait, is there an echo?
Sorry. Okay. Can you guys hear me now? I'm gonna do that again. Okay, wait. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. Are we good? Are we good? I'm gonna be right back. Are we good? Okay, let's pretend that didn't happen. 1 second. Oh my god, chat that I've never seen before. Welcome to the stream. Take 2. And, I'm here to tell you that the title is real. Tomorrow, I am playing a $100,000 cash game at the casino. xQc will be playing as well. MrBeast will be playing as well. Ludwig will be playing as well. Slime will be playing as well. And it's gonna be us, the cute little content creators, against 3 pros, ladies and gentlemen. 3 pros, okay? There's gonna be Phil Hellmuth, Tom Dwan, and also Alan Keating. I hope I said his name right. So, you know, just pray for your juicers, okay? Going all in on every hand. That's gonna be MrBeast. So MrBeast, I posted it, and let me tell you guys what MrBeast replied to me posting about the game. He said, "Thanks in advance for the free money," which I cried, because, you know, it's probably gonna be true. And then I told him, you know what, it's fine. I'm gonna make it back side betting how many times you go all in. Do you think over or under 5? And he's like, over, easily. So it's 100K buy-in. It is 50K to start off with, and then if people go all in, they can rebuy. I have 1 rebuy. Now you guys might be wondering, hey Alex, you know, you're not really that good at poker. Why are you doing this? See, I even put on my little underdog t-shirt today for the storytelling. So you might be wondering, like, what mafia lord did you strike a deal with to get in the game? Like, are you gonna disappear if you lose? Are we ever gonna see you again? Is it gonna be Andrea and Papa Botez taking over? And honestly, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. No. I didn't strike a deal with the mafia. Yeah, so you guys might see that I have a nice little hat, WPT Global. And WPT is the World Poker Tour, and you guys might know them because their biggest event is the World Poker Tour main tour, where, you know, everybody goes. It's the biggest poker event in the world. And they also have 2 platforms, which I'm reading the notes here so I don't mess it up. Learn WPT, the official poker education platform. You can do command for that. And, of course, the World Poker Tour. You guys know it's televised and all of that stuff. So, the WPT is... Oh, yeah, the World Series of Poker. Yeah, my bad. First of all, they're helping me out, so they're going to cover the first buy-in. They're going to cover the first 50K, okay? So you guys can breathe. The second bullet, however, is my own, so let's not mess this up. Go, chat! I need some hype! Honestly, look, I had some friends, I will admit they're my crypto friends, who were willing to stake me, but they're my friends, and I felt so nervous, and I'm not that good at poker, so I'm not going to take their money. I'm going to stake myself. It is going to be a very exciting event. Bullet Botez for real. For real. This is going to be tomorrow at 8 p.m. It's going to be on Hustler Casino's channel and on Ludwig's channel. They're both going to be on YouTube. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific. Okay? It's going to be... Honestly, it's going to be so entertaining. MrBeast is going to go all in, like, every other hand. I don't even know what xQc Juicer is gonna do. I don't know who's more unpredictable, xQc or Tom Dwan. This just sounds like the funnest, the most hilarious poker table you'll ever get a chance to play. Like, you have some of the, you know, the most well-known, recognized poker players with some of the most recognized, you know, creators who at least know some poker. So it's gonna be a really fun game. I wanted to be a part of it. And honestly, studying poker has been very, very fun, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing a hand review stream with Chewy, who actually, I need a message and tell him that I'm almost ready for him. Almost ready for you. And we have a command for him too. He's been an incredible coach. So we're going to be doing hand review today, which is just going to be an educational stream. I think the strategy from poker and learning about it and things like that is awesome. He's been giving me some really good advice too. Yesterday, I played poker until 3 a.m. with a group of friends. I have just been doing so much poker this week. And it's pretty cool because the WPT is also going to cover my buy-in in the World Series of Poker for Women, the ladies event. I could probably talk to them about the main event as well, but it would be fun to play in the ladies event because the ladies are so nice and fun to play with, even though every time I play with the ladies, they take my money or they beat me at chess. Honestly, I play worse when I'm in the ladies event than I play in the open events. The ladies really terrify me. They're very good, but it's okay because the buy-in is going to be covered, and you know, it'll be educational. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Players with psychology backgrounds do very well in poker. No, it is very cool. Hey, at least there are no kids. That's true. That's true. So I think we have all of the commands in chat if you guys want to see anything. Will you wear glasses? So I told Papa Botez. Hang on. Let me read. So I told Papa Botez. So, chat, the way I learned to play poker was when I was like 8 years old. And me and Papa Botez would play poker. And Papa Botez would play these online poker games with his work colleagues, right? And they'd be playing like 8 table, 9 table poker buy-ins. And every now and then, Papa Botez would have to leave, and he would let me just come in and play for him instead. And I remember one time when I was 10 years old, he put me up against all of his coworkers. They didn't know that he had to leave, so you know, maybe it was unfair because playing against a 10-year-old is very different than playing against someone who knows how to play chess. Now, I didn't really know the rules, so I was fearless and it was not my money, and I just didn't have that understanding as a 10-year-old. So I bluffed the shit out of that entire table, and I ended up beating all of his co-workers. And he went to work on Monday like, haha, you guys lost to my 10-year-old daughter, sucks to suck. And he was just very, very entertained. But again, it was kind of like Ovalie in the creator game where she didn't realize she was playing with real money and she was just fearless. But you guys know the saying, scared money don't make money. Don't do the bluffing versus one. No, okay, so you guys know that Tom Dwan has like his legendary Tom Dwan poker face, so I want to practice it, and if I ever play Tom Dwan, I want to do the Tom Dwan face against Tom Dwan. You know what I mean? I just want to go like... Wait, I think I have to look down. But I have to hold it. I have to hold it. So I don't know if that's my mouth has to be a little bit wider. Okay. So a little bit wider. You can't look to the side. Okay, so I have to look straight. Look straight and do that. Yeah, okay. He doesn't blink. Yeah, well, I can't not blink. I can't not blink because then I'm going to start crying. Although, what do you do against a poker opponent who starts crying? You get uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a good time. Don't start laughing. No, I'll try. Yeah, it's gonna be entertaining. Okay. Well, anyway, you guys, how much of the 100K is staked? 50. 50. The first bullet, WPT. Shout out to WPT Global. And Learn WPT. Oh shoot, I have to put Learn WPT on the screen. Sorry, 1 second. I forgot to put them on because I was waiting for it to be a PGN. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, never mind. They're sending me the logo because I didn't have the PNG and it looked really bad on here. But we're gonna get the Learn WPT. You look like you haven't slept for 72 hours. Yeah, you know what? I saw a really good TikTok and I saved it because I really related with it because
Cyber
people
Garrett
always
gifted a
upset me.
tier
And you know
1
what? This
sub
is
to
for you,
DB
for the
Vita.
person who looked like I'm tired. 1 second.
Tell me that I look tired, eh?
Wait.
I don't get offended when people tell me that I look tired. I am tired, and God forbid I look like what I am. Maybe then someone will look at me across the room and go, should I bother her with my useless bullshit today? Maybe not. She looks a little bit tired. And then we'll all live happily ever after, because on that day, I was left alone.
Yeah, that's for you, chatter. That's for you. Yeah, maybe I am a little tired, so I don't want your bullshit in chat today. We got nothing but support, okay? Alright. Stop telling me I look tired. Okay. No, I just thought it was a very funny TikTok. Oh my god. Alright. Let me message Chewy. Let me message Chewy. Do you know the seating for tomorrow? I don't know where people are seating. Who's gonna commentate? I think it's gonna be Joey Ingram. I don't know if we're going to TwitchCon yet. It's gonna be a cash game. Oh, we got the logo. Okay, let me just put the logo on, and then we could bring on the nicest coach ever. Okay, 1 second. Is it restreamed? It's gonna be on Ludwig's channel on YouTube and also on Hustler Casino. I think we have the commands for both. And it's gonna be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific. Vila, if you're... I'm gonna tell Vila to just put the date for the stream and all the info. Okay. Okay, great. Wait, is it 8 p.m. Eastern? I thought it was Pacific. Oh, shit! It's 8 p.m. Eastern? Oh, it's 5 p.m.? Okay, well, thank you guys, because I would have showed up late. You know how many times I had to go to the bank to try to get the 100K transferred over? I've spent so much time at the bank, and it just... I looked very suspicious. Very suspicious, because there's weird regulations about how you could do this with compliance. At some point, I thought I wasn't going to make it and that I'd have to get $100,000 cash sometimes, and then I started sweating and thinking about how I was going to get robbed. Oh my god, I don't know how poker players do this. But we got it done. It's sent over. Everything is good. Everything is good. It's 8 Pacific. Okay, you guys, stop changing the time on me then. No, I got a cashier's check, but you, like, if you're an LLC, and even if you just need to be an LLC because you're a streamer, you can't do a cashier check from there, so I had to open, like, a new checking account and all of that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're good. It's all good. It's all good. It's part of the chaotic fun, you know? Every other show's all... Yeah, no, the show is later. Yeah. Okay, alright, let's get started with some hand review, you guys. Let's get started. I'm the last person who's gonna get robbed. I don't know why you say that. Okay, I don't like these sleeves, but I think I look kind of like douchey when I don't have sleeves, but it's killing my vibe. We don't like sleeves here. Okay. Alright, let me tell our coach that we're about to call him. Okay. Alright. Do you think you can manifest good cards with quantum physics? Because I do. Look, man, if you manifest for me tomorrow, I'll give you a nice little tip, yeah? So, wait, actually, chat, we have a lot of people in here. Can we like, manifest together? Yo, wait, is Hammer in here? Yeah, so the WPT does have their new platform, which is WPT Global, and you can play on WPT Global, but you have to be outside of the US. So, like, this is their new poker site, if you guys want to play. But today is actually going to be fun, and it is going to be educational. So I think, honestly, studying poker is more fun than studying chess. I'm going to say it. I said that quietly, because Hammer might overhear us. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Shh. Nobody tell Hammer what I just said, okay? And if he asks, deny that I said anything, okay? It's all good. So WPT Global, if you guys do want to play. Also, sorry, one more thing before we bring him on. Poker still includes gambling. As you guys can see, that even for me to play in this, I tried to find a way where I'm really reducing my own risk, which is why, you know, WPT is helping sponsor. And basically for every single poker event I've played this year, I have had my buy-in covered. So, you know, that's how I have been playing, okay? And I have, like, my buy-in for any big event. The big events have all been covered. I really enjoy playing poker. I think it's an incredible game. It's very intellectually stimulating. I like the psychology behind it. I like the strategy behind it. And it's my favorite game outside of chess. It's probably my favorite hobby. It's like my only hobby outside of chess and work. I meet with friends and we play poker. I really enjoy it. So that's why I wanted to play more poker events this year. But be careful because poker still includes money. So think of it, as a hobby that you have some kind of budget for. The same like
Night
if you
Goblin
would
8
play
gifted
some
a tier
amounts
1
to
sub
do.
to
Well,
Tetsuo
I don't know why bowling is the
214.
first hobby I thought of, but like let's say you're really into bowling and you have to pay for a squad or things like that. Think of it as the same expense. So it still includes gambling. Obviously, I also think of it as a sport and as a game, as something that's very strategic, and that's why I like it. But it has risk, so I just want to put that out there, okay? And I thought a lot about this game as well, and how I could set my limits and how I would think about it, and that's how we're starting. Okay. All right. I'm calling Chewy, who has been so patient, and I'm gonna apologize. Okay. Oh God, my ranges are in the Discord. We're gonna have to hide these. Hello.
Hello.
I'm so sorry that I was a little bit late. I was giving my chat a disclaimer on how to think about poker and gambling.
Awesome. That's great. No worries. How's my mic sound?
Your mic, I think, sounds great. Let's see what people say in the chat.
Okay.
Can you guys hear him okay? Yeah, look, chat, if I lose the second one, we're going to be doing a lot of Raid Shadow Legends streams, okay? It'll be fine. A little bit loud. Okay, I'll turn you down on my end.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to put random numbers in the Discord chat so that I don't give away my ranges. Not like I'll know all of the ranges, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Oh my god, Discord is telling me to enter the chill zone because they think I'm spamming, which I guess I am.
You kind of are.
I am spamming. You're sending whoa there, way too spicy. You're sending messages too quickly. Enter the chill zone. Wow, that's kind of rude. I didn't know that messaging platforms could put you down like that, but
I mean, letter of the law, this is spamming, but nevertheless.
For sure. Well, Chewy, so for everybody who don't know Chewy, we do have a command for him. He has been helping me prepare for this poker event, and he's been just an incredible coach. Chewy, do you mind talking a little bit about your poker background and also where they can find you if they want to, see some more of your educational stuff?
Sure. So, if anyone's interested in more poker education, you can go to learnwpt.com. And as far as my background in poker, I got into it senior year of high school. I was working at a bowling alley, and the gentleman who was drilling the bowling balls, as well as the guy who ran the lane, were always playing on their computer. I was like, I like games. That seems interesting. And this time frame was coinciding with the poker boom, as it's called, where Chris Moneymaker won the World Series main event. And I was sort of part of that generation that got wrapped up in playing poker. It, became highly publicized through media and exposure on ESPN. And yeah, I just really took a liking to it. I've kind of always been into games. My brother and I, as well as friends of ours, were, playing with other kids around town. And eventually I got online and, yeah, kind of just found some nice communities, people that I'm still friends with to this day. And, just really never looked back. Just, nose to the grindstone. I've always really just loved poker theory, as well as some of the human components, that make it what it is, because you're playing against other people. And although I think the idea of reading people in a sort of Rounders-esque way is sometimes slightly overstated, there is very much an element of, feeling where people are at, kind of sense when someone's nervous or when they're comfortable, or sometimes they're using deception. And yeah, it's just a game that I've really dedicated my life to, and I couldn't be more grateful to have found.
Amazing. Well, yes, you guys, it is Lucky Chewy. For those of you who know poker, you know how much of a legend he is. For those of you who don't know poker, he's one of the best tournament players out there. And I know it's really hard because there's not an ELO ranking like there is in chess to figure out who's the best, but you know what? He's one of the best. We're going to go with that. So, also, do you prefer Andrew or Chewy?
Whatever you want. Either way.
Honestly,
I have different
Chewy
people in my
just
life
sounds
call me both.
so cool. So I
Yeah,
just love
it's
it.
fitting. I mean, we're in poker. Chewy is my poker name, so let's roll with
Okay, it's just too fun to not say. All right, so Chewy, I was telling my chat I was playing poker. I think I slept at like 3:30 a.m. last night. And I was playing with some friends. It was a tournament. We did 2 tournament games and then 1 cash game at the end. And they weren't as good, so I could kind of read what they had, which made it kind of unfair. I did save a few of the hands I was confused about, but we also kind of paused to discuss things as we were playing. So maybe
it.
I'll save those questions for the end, and we can start going through some of the practice hands you have.
Sure. So I'll share my screen here.
And I'm just gonna need like 2 minutes to set it up once you do.
Yeah, no worries.
And if you
I
have a
sort of
webcam
just
also, that would be awesome. But if not, we don't need to
yes,
do that.
I do.
Yay.
Here we go.
Okay, let me see how to make it. Okay, I'm gonna make it pop out. See if I could get you a little bigger. Aha. Okay, this works. And let me see if I could hide myself. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, I got it perfectly. Sorry, just 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, chat. And maybe you could tell chat how you came up with the hands we're gonna see while I'm setting it up.
Yeah, so the game tree in poker, I mean, you'd be familiar with kind of game trees and permutations from chess, is massive, especially with 8 players. There's no way that we'd be able to go through all of the situations that you could possibly run into. But based on the conversations we had, I tried to come up with some hands. These are all hypothetical. They're not hands I've actually played. That sort of articulate some of the concepts that I think will be helpful. And if you sort of understand the heuristics that go into some of these decisions, you should be able to take them with you and apply them to other situations that might not be exactly the same, but have underlying patterns that are quite similar.
Got it. That makes sense. Yeah. So chat, we were doing a lot of general stuff yesterday, and I thought this would be helpful because it's not specific just to this game, but for anyone who's interested in poker and how the strategy works, I think this is going to be really helpful. And I know I only started realizing that this is helpful when I was playing in the WPT Heads Up, and that was the first time I learned things like this. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
that was an exciting event.
Yeah. No, that was super fun. Okay. I'm almost there. I'm just gonna add a name tag for you as well, because you deserve
Cool.
to have at least that, you know.
Oh, well, thank you.
Do you like where I put mine? I like that you have yours on your hoodie.
Oh, I'm just used to this from wearing it to tournaments. Like I'm in Sacramento right now.
How's
I'll
your
be playing a
tournament
tournament.
going?
Well, I played the first 2 starting flights and I did not advance, so it's not going as well as it could be, but it's quite expected in the sense that most of the tournaments you play, you don't win. It's just about maximizing the opportunities that you do get when you run deep. You're in the money, you have a big stack.
Yeah.
So I'm having a good time, and yeah,
Okay.
enjoying my experience.
I'm almost there. Okay. I'm just putting a little outline around so they could be seen, and then we are good to get started. Okay.
Sweet.
All right. Okay, chat. There we go. We have it here. Everybody can see. And we're going to start. I guess we could get started. Oh, and I'm just going to turn you down a little bit. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So let's get started.
Awesome. Okay, so in this first hand, just kind of an example of, initially how to play pre-flop. Coming in for a raise, I think we discussed, any hand you're going to play, if you're first into the pot, you want to come in for a raise. It just makes the most sense because you're, particularly in early position, going to be facing 7 unknown hands. So you want to kind of stake your claim to what's in the middle, which is the blinds and antes. So raising to the amount of what's already in the pot, 2.5 times the big blind, quite standard here.
Yep.
And in this example, we
Okay,
see
so
the
in
hijack.
this example, we're playing with 7-7. We were first to act, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So 7-7 is a hand you would raise under the gun.
Yeah. you could justifiably play almost any pair. As you get into the weaker region of like maybe twos, threes, and fours, you could arguably fold them. One thing that's nice about the pocket pairs when everybody has quite a large amount of chips relative to the big blind is that when you do make a set, there's the opportunity for a substantial payoff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're much shorter stacked, um, there's the chance that someone blows you off of your hand before you get to um, what we would say in poker, realize your equity or be able to see it through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, justifiably any pair. I mean,
And,
sevens is a pretty reasonable
and I
holding
have a
here.
question that is particular to this game. So I imagine it's going to be really expensive to see a flop. There's probably going to be a lot of four betting pre-flop since everybody's playing pretty crazy. Would that change how you think of what to play in these kinds of early positions?
It would change it somewhat, but I would still always play a hand like sevens. I think it's important in poker to make reasonable adjustments. So if you think that, or you have substantial evidence that players are playing very aggressively behind you,
Mm-hmm.
and there'll be raises and re-raises at maybe a higher frequency than what would ordinarily be expected,
Mm-hmm.
you could certainly fold some hands, but you sort of still need force players to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just the nature of the deck and the way that the hands get dealt is they're still going to need something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Perhaps not. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You have a bit more experience with some of these players than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
Nevertheless,
So
I would
7-7 is still too strong, and that's actually helpful because it kind of, helps adjust my range for things like this.
yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think any mid to big pair, suited Broadway cards, suited aces,
Mm-hmm.
and then just big cards, like ace jack, king queen, those types of hands.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be pretty unlikely to fold those under any circumstances. Um, but yeah, the cool thing about poker is that it's a very fluid game,
Yep.
and it's not helpful to speak in absolutes too much of the time.
Right.
Although we do have to find some sort of guiding principles that govern our gameplay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we can continue. Thank you for that.
Cool, no worries. So in this example, I just had the two players in position calling. So the
Mm-hmm.
one hijack player, two spots off the button,
Mm-hmm.
and then the button player who will be in position for all decisions that come from here on out, meaning that they act last.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who's not too familiar with poker,
And also for
and
anyone who's not familiar, when he's saying the position, it's also titled right under the card, so you could kind of use that as a reference to follow along. Okay.
yep, thanks for that.
Oh my god, so this is a nice flop. Sorry, let's go into this. My issue, actually, this is not an issue. I think it's obvious. So if something like high cards would come on with a 7-7, you would just fold that to a big raise, right?
Well, it depends on the action that happens. You know, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Generally speaking, yes, if the flop was something like ace, king, jack,
Mm-hmm.
that's not really what you're going for with your sevens.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some interesting things to highlight about those big cards coming out, because when you raise in this early position, you're first to act before the flop,
Mm-hmm.
players are going to put you on higher cards.
Yeah.
That's also one of the benefits of playing some of these smaller to mid cards,
Yeah.
is that when they do come out, players might be a little bit shocked,
That's
because
fair.
yeah, they're thinking you have an ace king, ace queen, those sorts of holdings.
Makes sense. I will say I would lose this hand because Beast plays every single 6-9 he gets, and in my head I'd be like, the man is in with 6-9 again. I can't keep losing to his 6-9s.
Well, he might also bluff at situations where 6-9 is a good hand. So
Yeah, I'm just teasing.
hope is not lost yet. Also, if the board pairs, that's gonna work out pretty well for you.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we could continue.
Yeah. So that's quite funny.
Well, I have lost 4,000 to him in a hand where he's like, I have 6-9 offsuit, and I was like, I have ace something high. He's like, you want to go all in? I was like, sure. I mean, I know what you have, you know what I have, and of course the flop comes 6-9 something, and I lose $4,000.
Well, it's going to be really easy to win that 4 grand back tomorrow, given how much money's in play.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I like your chances.
No, I recovered by the end of that poker game too, but it was just a brutal hand.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a part of poker. We have to learn to live with it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it makes the game what it is, and I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. Okay,
So
cool.
sort of, yeah, piggybacking off that concept of you mostly having higher cards here, this is a great situation to be aware of because you'll face a lot of instances like this where you're in a multi-way pot,
Mm-hmm.
and it's important to think about what you sort of have in overarching sense. So right, like in individual sense, we have 3 7s. That's great. We're
Mm-hmm.
stoked about that. But most of the time, you don't have a hand this good.
Mm-hmm.
Even a hand like Pocket King, for example, it's a good hand, right? Like you have a pair higher than the board. But if somebody else has a hand like we have here, we're almost drawing completely dead. We have those 2 kings to save us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a situation where I would recommend just always checking and deferring action to the other players and sort of waiting to see what developed. And then you can decide, do you want to call? Do you want to raise? That's sort of up to you
And this
based
is
on
very much based on the position you're in here, right? Because you just don't have information.
it's based on the
Yeah.
position you're in. It's also just based on what sorts of hands you have. So we know we're playing all those big cards, the suited Broadway cards,
Mm-hmm.
the ace kings, the ace queens,
Mm-hmm.
some of the suited aces that are going to miss this board. So it's just a great
So
spot
so
for
we
you to
want to
check.
give the illusion that like maybe we didn't hit what we wanted for us to have
Yes,
been plating in here.
yes, and another reason for that is when you have those hands that did miss,
Mm-hmm.
you always want to check them. You could argue that you want to bet this hand individually, but sort of just a nice poker concept is to think about everything that you could have, not just what you individually have.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so we'd call that your range. So your
Mm-hmm.
range wants to check, so we go for a check. Okay, the hijack bets. They bet around a third of the pot, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bet size where if either you or the button have overcards, you're not really going to be able to defend very easily against this type of bet. So their bet size doesn't really give away their hand strength in any definitive way. It's more just a bet that can be it could be three of a kind, it could be a straight,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a straight draw, could be a one pair holding. So here the button folds. And then what do you think you might want to do in this situation?
So obviously it's call or raise here.
Yes.
Um, I would consider calling because they were the aggressor, and I guess what I could lose to here would be if okay, so I guess I'm risking if somebody is going to get a straight, so I'd consider if I want to raise to try to win the cards here, but it seems like they're very good cards, so I'd probably call
And I think
and let them try to continue being the aggressor.
yeah, and I think that's totally reasonable. I don't have a super strong preference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
There is one thing to note, which is that you have 3 7s, but there's still the possibility, or a heightened possibility that this player has an 8.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I would rather raise with 3 7s than 3 8s.
Mm-hmm.
And that was sort of one of the ideas I was going for with this example, is just to think about, when you have a good hand, how likely it is that your opponent might have, a different good hand.
A hand
Good is
that
sort
can
of a relative
improve,
term.
right?
A hand that can improve
Yeah.
or, just stick around.
Yeah.
Because there's still so much money left to play with
Mm-hmm.
in this instance. Both players have 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
So in this example, I thought, okay, this is a decent spot to go for a raise.
Yep.
Just forcing them to put more money in with an 8
Mm-hmm.
is, it's a nice outcome. Sometimes they will have an 8 with a straight draw, and
Yeah.
they'll have some chance to beat you. But if they have a hand like King 8 suited, Ace 8 suited, those hands are drawing pretty slim.
Okay.
So here in this example, they go for a call. we still don't know exactly what they have, but we're starting to narrow down possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And now the turn is a queen. So what do you think generally about this situation? I know I took you sort of on a divergent path
Mm-hmm.
to what you had intended on, but
So
let's think on the fly.
okay, so I think a queen would be a good card for me to see here because maybe they had a queen face card that they're playing with, so that gives them a top pair. So they could be confident about that. Queen, I guess they still can't make a straight with something like Jack 10 because it's not
Hmm.
connected in the middle. So like the only thing that would beat me is if they had Queen Queen or 8 8 here. So this seems
Yeah.
like a good card for me, but then I'd be curious since I guess I already raised here, so I'd probably try to do some kind of value bet here to not
Yeah,
scare them
I,
off.
I think that's a great conclusion. The one thing I would mention is that the queen, while it is an overcard to the board, it sort of is. It's sort of a blank in the sense that you pointed out they could have it with another face card,
Mm-hmm.
but would they really have bet the flop in this multi-way pot and then called a raise? They'd have to be somewhat concerned with a hand like Queen Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a hand they could bluff with initially,
Yeah.
but to call your raise, it's kind of a dicey proposition.
Yeah. Got it. So,
Because
yeah. Sorry. Continue.
yeah, so the queen might not hit them in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
They could have a hand like Queen Nine, that's a straight draw. But like I said, I definitely agree with the conclusion to continue betting here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a situation where if they have a straight draw, you want to charge them, to try to complete their straight. And if they have an 8, they're not going to keep putting money in for you.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself could have a straight draw, or some sort of other hand that you might be bluffing with. So it definitely makes sense to keep betting.
Mm-hmm. And then
And
they
they
would
fold,
fold.
and we win, which is quite nice.
That was a nice hand. Can you make these happen for tomorrow also?
That was part of the goal. I tuned into your stream before brought me on, and I saw you were getting to the really advanced poker strategy of quantum physics and altering probabilities. I didn't expect us to get there so soon, but
do
yeah,
any poker pros actually get like that?
you're talking to one.
Do you really? Is that why you're
Yeah.
lucky, Chewy? Wait, tell me more. Just give me like
Um,
a little quick one, and then we can get back.
yeah, I mean, I guess I've had enough experiences in my life that indicate to me that probabilities seem to be somewhat fluid based on circumstance, and I don't know exactly what drives that shift. And I know a lot of my peers think I'm crazy for this, but I'm totally all about it, and it's kind of like a free roll. I understand the poker theory well enough that it's not going to change my decision making in an individual hand,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those things that I consider to be like an emotional free roll. Like I just like the way it makes me feel. It
Mm-hmm.
jives with kind of my personality and my view on life.
You're so
Um,
positive for a poker player. It's kind of crazy. Chat, Chewy gave me a pep talk yesterday because we had 10 minutes left. I was like, okay, is there anything else I should know? He's like, you know, just make sure you also go and have fun because at the end of the day, poker is about that. And if you're not enjoying it, then why are you playing? And it was just very
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, it's true. So I sort of take that, to another level in some regard. But yeah, I mean, there's just really no reason not to keep your vibes high. Like you don't know
Hmm.
what kind of ripple effect it can have in your life,
Yeah.
how it can impact other people. It's just I've had countless great things happen to me, and I think in many ways you create your own luck. So yeah, that's my spiel.
All right, chat. So let's keep up the positive vibes for today and for tomorrow. We're gonna just spread positive vibes so that I'm feeling confident tomorrow for the chat.
100%,
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Is that why Phil is always like hashtag positivity in his tweets?
I mean, his actions speak a little bit louder than his words at times.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, maybe he's onto something there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. Well,
Phil's a funny character. He'll be good for the
he
game.
definitely is. All right, I'm ready for the next set. I really like hand reviews. It's very fun. I feel like you're making me
Awesome.
solve puzzles. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, I realized yesterday that this kind of format is really great for these types of things.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I did get ace jack suited yesterday, and then king queen something came on the flop, and like my there was 3 people left. I got a really aggressive raise. I ended up folding. He did have a king. I was like, oh,
Okay.
that was a tough hand.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, these types of hands are obviously some of the most premium holdings.
Yeah.
In this situation, right, it's like quite similar to the other one. There's going to be
Mhm.
some differences. So this time we get called by, the 2 same players in the same seats. And then the big blind comes along as well.
And then Jimmy goes all in. What do we do? Ace king? Do we take it?
I mean, yes.
Yes.
Based on what you've told me about Jimmy, I'm not folding ace king
Well, no,
suited to
but
this guy.
no, no, but, like Jimmy is pretty good. He does he gets aces and he goes all in on those. You just don't know if he's going all in on aces or on 6-9. But the 6-9 have beat me more than the aces, so who knows?
Yeah, it's a little bit easier to get 6-9 than it is aces.
Yeah.
Just combinatorically.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
No,
also,
of
if he ever
course.
has ace queen or some other goofy hand,
Yeah.
middle of the deck type cards.
Ace king suited. You play. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We can.
Sometimes
keep
you can
going.
feel it out though. Like, sometimes you kind of get a sense. Is this guy really ready to just like go off? Does he look sort of bored? One of the things about people that play poker just more as a hobby or recreation is they won't conceal their emotions as, or it won't be a foremost intention for them. They're kind of more whimsical
I
out
don't
there.
know. xQc is a master of emotional control, so we'll see how
Okay,
it goes.
I don't know him, so
I'm
him.
teasing. He's known for like raging and being super animated. Like xQc
Okay.
and Phil Hellmuth. Honestly, I just want to be at the table when xQc and Phil Hellmuth go head to head because I swear to God, this is gonna be historic. It's actually gonna be like a top poker moment.
I'm very excited for that. I think it's going to be great. I mean, I'm rooting for xQc just because I want to see the Helmuth blow up. Perhaps it's in the inverse for you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It would break the internet. Okay, all right, chat. Back
Awesome.
to the cards.
Okay, so in this case, we get a great flop for us.
Oh my God! I like that we're looking at hands that we're just manifesting for tomorrow because we're just practicing for the cards that I'm gonna see.
Yeah, essentially. There's some hands that we don't win, but yeah.
Well,
So far,
Saikuno would
so
go
good.
all in here, and I would fold. But since Saikuno's not playing, I'm not gonna go as nice on the rest of them.
Yeah, I think in this game we want to make sure that if we have the nuts, we put our chips in.
No, yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think we could go with that.
So I'll just ask a general question. Of the 4 players, ignoring the hand that we have, given the possible holding, who do you think this board is better for? Like these cards coming out, this flop?
Probably I guess the big blind plays a wider range of hands. So I think this is really good for us because then we're in the earliest position.
Yeah, correct. And that's really just the key takeaway from this example is, compared to the last hand where those low cards or low to mid cards came out, in this case, we have these types of hands. They comprise essentially a higher portion of our range of hands. And as a result of that, it's reasonable to be more aggressive on this type of board.
So here you're playing like 1/3 of the pot. This is assuming in a situation where we're just raising a lot, right?
Yes. So there is a little bit of nuance with the bet sizing. I actually wrote down good moments to pull up my notes here. Okay. So a general heuristic about multi-way pots is that you bet less often because you're up against more players. So if you think about
you bet less often
likely,
or you bet less amounts.
So sometimes it's both. Here, I think a bigger bet would also be acceptable. But the main point I want to convey is that if you think about, the different players in the hand as being entitled to a certain portion of the pot based on their likelihood to win, that essentially would be what we would call equity. So you don't have as much equity just due to the fact that there's other players in the hand. So like this player, before they folded, has a certain amount of equity. The button has a certain amount. The big blind would have the least because, as you wisely pointed out, they have the widest range.
Mm-hmm.
So they have sort of small to mid cards that these other players and us won't. So because of that, in multi-way pots, often want to bet smaller
Mm-hmm.
because you just are entitled to win less often.
Okay.
If this was a situation where these two players had folded and we were playing heads up against the big blind, you could bet the size of the pot or more than the pot,
Yeah.
just because you're so likely to win and you
And-
have the hand strength with your overall range to back that up.
Makes sense. But let's say that prior to this, players have just been calling almost any kinds of amount or things like that, then I could size it up based on their play, right? If I
Totally.
think they're
Yeah,
very
I mean,
likely to just call anything I put in. Or bigger
yeah,
amounts,
if
not
play,
crazy stuff.
right, yeah, if players are playing way too loose and you have
Mhm.
great hands and they're essentially just willing to, call your bets with
Mhm.
hands that they likely shouldn't, yeah, that's just a great poker adjustment to win more with your good hands.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool.
So in this example, I had the button calling our bet, and they can have all sorts of hands here. They can have a pair and a straight draw. They could have a made straight themselves, although
Mhm.
that's obviously not as likely given the cards that we have.
Mhm.
But because Ace King is a real threat on this kind of board, and neither of them re-raised pre-flop or the big blind,
Mhm.
we have a significant advantage in that, best possible holding.
I was hoping to
So,
see a heart or a diamond, and was curious how you'd play this if there was like a flush draw as well.
okay, well, that's a good question. So, how would you play this here given this card, and how would you change that based on a heart or a diamond if it was a four?
I mean, I guess a heart or a diamond, still low likelihood that they would make their flush, but I'd potentially bet a little bit more aggressively just to maybe have them pay more to see that last card.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think there's merit in that. One thing to note is that, uh, you know, when this card comes that doesn't bring any flush draws,
Yeah.
it definitely is better for us. We're less likely to get outdrawn, so you're
Mhm.
correct in that regard. Trying to think if I probably wouldn't really change my bet size too much. Um, you could, you definitely could.
Yeah, I mean, I
It does
guess
make
I
sense.
guess you would bet in yeah. I mean, I would only put a bet size if I was nervous that they'd get on the last card and I'm trying to scare them off a little bit or make them pay more to see it. But I'm not that good to know when to not give tells by varying my bet size, so maybe that's not ideal.
Yeah, varying your bet size and giving away your hand strength is somewhat of a concern.
Mhm.
Another thing to consider is that
At
when the
least against the
stacks are
pros.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. um, Another thing to consider is that when these stack sizes are as deep as they are, um, sometimes if you bloat the pot too much on early street
Mhm.
and a card comes that's bad for the specific you have as well as bad for your range, sometimes that's a little bit concerning.
Mhm.
You might end up in a situation where your opponent has a disproportionate amount of, like let's say the turn was the four of hearts and the river came a three of hearts. It might not be as easy for you to have a flush, particularly the queen being a heart. Probably we're not betting with a jack or a 10
Mhm.
on the flop and the turn that aggressively.
Mhm.
So some of these situations can end up occurring. Does this kind of make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, also, this is definitely a good position to be in. So we can continue going. The ones
Cool.
where I have a good pre-flop and then the flop comes and it gets complicated, I think are the ones I struggle more with, but I want to keep doing all of these.
Cool. Yeah, I have some of those as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so here, we bet around three-quarters of the pot,
Mm-hmm.
just value betting based on the
Mm-hmm.
strength of our hand. Again, bigger betting is an idea here. The point you made is great. Like if players are playing too loose, just bet bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of drawing these hands from my own experience, which this is sort of how I would play this just generally if I was against unknown players, and they fold,
Yep.
and we win. So
Yep.
more
Okay.
more good things happening.
So far, we're having a great day in poker.
Yes, we are.
Okay, king queen.
Okay, king queen suited, so we raise, and the big blind calls.
I want to see an ace on
And
this flop. Oh, 7-7-3. That's a fun one too.
it is.
And then
So
I'm
they
also
check.
curious for later how you play king queen or those kinds of face card when an ace shows up.
Okay. Well, if you want, we can just go over that. 'Cause it's a bit easier.
Okay, let's go over that and then we'll come back here.
Okay, so anytime you raise and you get a single caller in the big blind, and an ace comes out, you can pretty much just bet indiscriminately because the ace will just be such a favorable card based on the hands you were choosing to play with your first in raise. So yeah, if you raise big blind calls and an ace comes out, you can bet every time. That's a pretty
Even if
safe
you
rule of thumb.
so like let's say this was ace 7-3, I have king queen, you would bet here
And not only with queen, any hand you could have.
because you're just trying to play it as your range. But would you not be worried
Exactly.
at all that no, I guess cuz big blind should be playing a wider range of things, right? So it's unlikely
Yeah.
that they have the aces.
And also, you don't need to make a particularly large bet on like an ace 7-3. It's quite disconnected. The real value of betting there is, when we were talking about the equity share pot, you're just trying to get them to fold a hand like 10-9, something that has 6 outs where it might hit a pair, a hand like Jack 10.
Yeah.
Just any sort of holding that missed, basically.
So if it was ace 7-3, I bet, and then I get re-raised. I think that's the right term, re-raised. How would you react?
So if I had a backdoor flush draw, so let's have diamonds, I would call, and
If
I
and
would
if you
only
didn't,
call. And if what? Sorry.
and if you didn't have the backdoor flush draw.
If I didn't have the backdoor flush draw, I would just fold against the raise. It is important to make sure that your opponent is capable of bluffing. Like I'd probably be more inclined to call that type of hand against some of the other creators than somebody like Helmuth. Helmuth is probably less likely to make that kind of bluff.
Do you think
just because
Helmuth is going to be bluffing a lot, or do you think he's going to be playing tight?
I mean, historically, he plays quite tight. You never know. He's somewhat unpredictable at times. I don't know what his intent will be going into this. Sometimes he, wants to create a legacy and increase his fame and notoriety. So maybe he'll play crazy. If I'm a betting man, I'm betting on him not playing crazy.
Okay.
Like I think
and you are a betting
he'll play
man.
pretty in line.
Okay.
I am a betting man. That's a great read. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he'll play pretty in line. He might make some smaller bluffs here and there. I think the most likely people to make like very big bluffs that are sort of more elaborate in nature across multiple streets, it's probably going to be Tom and Alan. It's based on my experience with them. I don't know some of the other players. Obviously, some of the more in-your-face barbarian type bluffs, it sounds like you're telling me xQc and Jimmy are going to be making. So,
well,
yeah,
it feels like they're the ones to make the bigger crazy bluffs, but honestly, maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to change it up. Who knows?
maybe, yeah, maybe, and that's part of the fun about profile people in poker is you sort of have to do it to have an idea of how you're going to approach different players. If you don't just want to play a baseline game plan, which is also acceptable, but you might have to change on the fly. We don't know how people are going to turn up to the game, what sort of mood they'll be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So let's continue here.
Cool. So what would be your thought here? You raised big blind called, you got this board, and they check to you.
Okay. So they check to me. I guess in terms of the range that they played, it could have been anything, but I feel like they probably would have raised if they had even slightly something, or they could be waiting for me to have it. From my position, I would have either had some kind of high cards, but I could have also had like connected suitors, or maybe even cards that are close to each other with these lower cards.
Mhm.
So I would consider. Okay, and then let me think if I would just check or if I would try to bluff a little bit here.
Mhm.
Although, what kind of cards could I give off to have that would have been good here? Like maybe if I would have had like a 3-4 or something and have one pair, but that's not that good. So yeah, here I would either value bet. I would probably just try to value bet here, or like
Yeah.
or raise a little bit and try to see if I can get them to fold because I had good cards. I want to realize my equity.
Yeah. Pretty reasonable analysis, honestly. I think that betting and checking are both acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
The main sort of takeaway from this hand is that the big blind is going to have nothing a lot more often than you,
Mm-hmm.
just because they're going to miss with various, cards that did not connect with this board.
Right.
On the other hand, they also have a 7 a bit more often than you do as
Mm-hmm.
well. They'll have hands like 6-7 offsuit, 7-8 offsuit that you would not have raised with.
Yep.
Um, so when you do bet here, it's nice to do it against players who won't bluff you uh, as aggressively. If I'm the big blind and I know that you're betting these types of hands a little bit too frequently, I'm super happy to check raise with a lot of hands that have 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush, even
Mm-hmm.
sometimes just, overcards, um, maybe ace high, even just to attack, because I know that I have the ability to leverage my advantage
Mm-hmm.
with the increased portion of holdings that have a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it's kind of like you get to choose how you want to structure your strategy um, based on the big blind's response. I would somewhat lean check because one of the things you said, which made sense, is that you want to prevent them from realizing their equity, and you just want to take the pot down.
Mm-hmm.
One of the downsides of betting, though, is that you probably don't really get any better hands to fold.
True.
You probably want to bet a little bit smaller on these boards that have a pair
I
on
would
them.
only want to bet here if I think it can make them fold.
Right. But if they fold, they probably don't have an ace because it's quite an unconnected board. Players could fold an ace, if
Mm-hmm.
they have a hand like ace 8, maybe they just don't bother with it.
Okay.
But most of the time when they fold, they have a hand that was weaker than yours.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, in that sense, like a value bet, and you made note of that, which I thought was quite astute. So in this example, I had us checking,
Okay.
and the turn was a 6, and it brings a flush draw, which isn't ours,
Mm-hmm.
and they come out with a bet. So what do you think at this point?
Well,
Again, I took you down a road you might not have gone down, but
no,
many
no, no.
cases of this.
It's okay. I like it. It's good practice. Okay, so here
Yes.
it would feel like they're trying to play as if they're going for the flush draw, or if, what else? I guess they could have played with cards like 4-5 from their position. That is also okay. So those are the kinds of cards they could have played from big blind. So then I would try to basically be figuring out, do they have that? If I calling feels weird because what card could I get? I mean, I could get a king or a queen, but it seems kind of unlikely, and I'm still maybe just giving them money as they're playing for their flush or their straight. I could consider raising and trying to get them to fold. Or okay, and then I guess I could try to think of my chances of winning this pot. I guess if this is the first time they've played aggressively, it does make me feel like they have something. This is a hard one. I'm not sure what to do here.
Yeah, I thought this was a good example because it's representative of something that will come up somewhat often,
Yeah.
where you have a hand that started out quite nice, but
Mhm.
it didn't really pan out all
Mhm.
that well.
Mhm.
And takeaway that I wanted you to be able to have is, it's totally reasonable to fold these hands. Like you mentioned, if they are drawing straight or a flush,
Yeah.
that's sort of one of the best case scenarios, and we don't really know. So if the river comes any card, basically 4, 5, 8, 9, 10,
Yep.
we're sort of lost. We're just sort of guessing.
Yep.
Uh, Furthermore, they can still have a 7. They can have a 3 or a 6.
Yep.
They could have a hand like pocket 4s.
Right.
So there's a lot going on here to where it's just not that favorable for us, and I would
Right.
just recommend folding these sort of situations where you do kind of have to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had a heart in your hand, maybe then you could possibly try and bluff a flush card on some rivers,
Mm-hmm.
or feel a little bit more comfortable against their weaker drawing hands. But
Okay.
yeah, I think
that makes sense. This is a good example of when to fold. I mean, now that we explained
yes,
it, I was like, oh yeah, it's obvious. We don't really have anything. We're not going to improve our position. No point. I mean, too risky to bluff them here.
yeah,
That makes
raising would
sense.
be a little bit too aggressive because it's like at that point, what do you really have? You're representing that you have kind of a 7. Even
Yeah.
if you had a hand like, let's say, pocket kings or queens that you may have slow played on the flop,
Yeah.
which is a reasonable idea, you probably would just call, not to put in too much money if they do have a better hand.
Right. Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Cool. So now we are the big blind, and it folds all the way around to the cutoff, and they raise. So they're kind of in a steal position, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for them to have a relatively wide range.
Mm-hmm.
And we go for the call,
Yep.
which makes sense, right? We have
Yep.
suited connectors.
Yeah, we're not going to fold these. We're going to play and we're not going to raise them for sure.
Yes.
Okay. So we
We
have
check.
a straight draw here. And we
do.
And we do check. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we would love to see one more hand if we could.
And also, like, just because of the width of our range, we don't really want to be leading out on more disconnected boards like this.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of plays into our opponent's strategy a bit,
Mm-hmm.
just because they rate to have better holdings than we do.
Okay.
So they do put a bet in, slightly larger sized bet. And what do we think here, kind of hand?
I mean, it seems like the amount we would put in, I don't know how likely it is that we're going to get a straight draw, but we might also get another spade. It feels like a reasonable amount to call here.
Yep, calling is totally reasonable. The main thing I wanted to sort of share with this example is that, the cutoffs in late position, they could have a variety of different things,
Mm-hmm.
whether, really good ones or slightly weaker. They could have Jack 10, Queen 10 type hands that maybe the player under the gun might fold.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this was a decent chance to steal the pot right away.
Got it.
To
Okay.
raise. And it's fun to be able to make these more creative plays when the stacks are so deep.
Mm-hmm.
So in this example, they go ahead and call. And important to consider, like, what are we representing with this raise? Well, we could have a 9. We could have 3 of a kind. These aren't like super likely holdings.
Mm-hmm.
So we do want to be somewhat selective when we're sort of representing these upper echelon hands. We could have some 2-pair. It's not super likely, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get this turn, which is quite interesting, both for our hand and what we could possibly rate to have.
Right.
So what sort of thoughts might go through your mind at this point?
So we have like a 25% chance to get a flush here. We're also maybe trying to go for a 6. What does it change on the hand behind? I mean, maybe if our opponent was playing something, I guess. What else would it? I guess the cutoff could have been playing with anything as well. I mean, this seems like a good card for us to have because it's no high cards. So if they were playing something like that, it's not good for them. I'm just trying to think what other cards the player in the cutoff would have against this. So it feels like this could be a good like semi bluff position.
Yeah, definitely. No, you hit the nail on the head. It's the the card that came is not going to improve any sort of big cards that they had,
Mm-hmm.
which they could have continued. If they had a hand like Queen Jack of Hearts,
Mm-hmm.
they might stick around, wait to see if they improve, their possible chances at a straight or a flush.
Yep.
And it is just a particularly good card for us in that we could plausibly have a hand like 6-8. We do have these low cards.
Yep.
If we had three of a kind or two pair, we're still pretty happy at this point in the hand. And thing I wanted to share with this example as well is that when you start to rate have better hands in the upper echelon of hand strength than your opponent, because even if our opponent has a hand like 9 here, and this is something that has to be taken with a bit of caution, because if you're not playing against, like, maybe some of the creators will overvalue a 9, whereas some of the pros might think that, okay, this person's applying aggression, a 9 is a good hand, but I don't beat any hands that they might have, or many hands that they're trying to extract value from me with. So here, I wanted to show that you can put in some really big bets, right? This is like, 1.5 times the pot roughly.
Yeah. And question, what would we do if we're playing a creator and they go all in here?
So unfortunately, if someone goes all in against this bet, you have to fold.
Yeah.
And it's important to make sure that, when you do make these larger sized bets, that you're going to be getting a sufficient amount of folds, because that's really what you're banking on. The backup is that, you can river a straight or a flush, but definitely without getting a fold right away, a reasonable portion of the time, you would just be putting too much money in the pot with a hand that is worse than what your opponent rates have.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is good to know that, because this is what you were trying to explain yesterday. That's kind of the difficulty with no limit. There's always a little bit of a risk that someone is going to try to shove you all in, right? And as I'm raising them, I need to be aware that's a risk, and that if it does happen, just because I put money in, I don't need to throw the hat down. Unless I had very little amount left, but not with this stack size.
Right.
Yeah.
So if this 35,600 was only 10,000 and they went all in, then yeah, you would just call. At that point you're getting almost 4-to-1 odds on your money.
Yeah.
With the flush draw alone, it would be a reasonable decision, but with the straight draw on top.
Okay. All
Cool.
right. Sounds good. So let's see what they do.
They fold.
Okay.
They probably just had overcards. They could have had a hand like Ace-5.
Can I ask what we would have done if they called and then something like a face card shows up that's not a spade?
Yes, that's a great question. And that's a type of thing that you really have to trust yourself when you're in the moment playing the game to decide, have I played my hand in such a way that I think my opponent can fold? Because at that point, once they call the turn, they're pretty likely to have some sort of pair, if not better. And a lot of these stacked no-limit situations do kind of hinge on, I'm representing that I have a really good hand, and my opponent has a hand most of the time that is, a 9 or like pocket jacks, and are they going to fold? And the general idea is to try to be aware of if they're going to lean one direction or another. I would be somewhat cautious to make these larger bluffs against less experienced players, especially because when people call this kind of big turn bet, they have to be pretty cautious of the fact that you're going to shove the river as well, right?
Yep.
So that's what I was kind of mentioning. Most of the equity that you get from them folding is going to happen on the turn.
Right. Okay. So in that situation, how would you think through the options? Because you wouldn't want to check through, right? Because then if they raise
on the turn, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just because you have you have a kind of funny hand class here where
Mhm.
your chance to improve is quite reasonable. At the same time, your chance to win without improving is completely zero. I would just basically always go for the bet here
Sorry,
and
not
just
not in this. Sorry,
rely.
I meant on the last card on the river,
Ah,
like in the
yeah,
same
okay,
situation where we see like Queen Heart show up, or Ace
yes.
Heart or King Heart or something like that, and then
Well, the ace gives us the straight, right? The
oh
ace
yeah,
gives us
sorry,
the ace
no,
two three
sorry,
four
you're right.
five.
The Ace does. Okay, let's say King Heart,
Yeah,
or like a 10 heart or something like that, and then it's in our situation. What would you consider doing there? Just because you've bet so much, and you don't want to shove with nothing because it's a big bluff, but you also don't want to check because then it feels like my opponent can just raise and run away with a pot, and I also have nothing. It reminds me of when Dan Smith was teaching me heads up, and he's like, if you have, usually when you have nothing, you're either trying to bluff them or you're just gonna fold.
yeah. And in that sense, it is a reasonable hand choice to use for a bluff
Mm-hmm.
because you can't win. On the other hand, once they've sort of continued against your flop aggression and your large turn bet, the chance that they have nothing is almost completely nullified. They
Mm-hmm.
can have some sort of hand. Maybe they have a hand like Jack 10 of spades,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it's pretty unlikely. So if you check and they bet, you're not really too worried about them bluffing you in that
Mm-hmm.
sort of
So
situation.
you would just
Given
fold.
this example, right? Yeah, you would
Mm-hmm.
definitely just fold.
Okay.
Um,
So it is
I think,
okay once you've been the aggressor and the last card comes, you don't have what you need to just check, let them raise, and let them take it.
yeah, totally. It's really just dependent on whether or not you think that you can get them to fold,
Yeah.
with this type of hand. In this example, where the river is a king,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't bring our flush, uh, you would just really have to decide: is this a situation where I think I could bluff my opponent?
Yeah, that makes sense. I saw a funny comment that said this logic won't work against XQC and Ludwig. I know, chap, but we're
Yeah,
not just
that's
playing
true.
against them. We're also playing against the pros, and we're gonna be playing more poker events, and it's important to learn regardless. So, yes.
Totally. One thing I'll mention is that the best river probably here is like an eight that doesn't make your hand. Like if you're looking for a good bluffing opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
the eight is quite nice in that, most of what the cutoff is going to have here is a nine or an overpair.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly can have a hand like 5-6 or 6-7 or pocket sixes where the eight gives them a straight.
Mm-hmm.
It's just proportionally not as likely. So that would be an example where I would continue betting, just because when all these middling cards come out, it's quite hard for you to have nothing. You have to have like almost this exact sort of hand. Maybe you have a hand like ace three or ace four.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So eight is the kind of hand. And how much would you consider putting in to bluff if something like an eight
Um,
came?
on an eight, you so this is where I would start to maybe use some ideas that aren't completely theoretical. I think if we're looking at like raw poker theory, the river card's an eight, and they've called our big turn bet. We we probably don't want to bet all in all the time. We
Mm-hmm.
can probably use some smaller sized bets because our opponent will frequently have one pair, and the eight improves us to two pair or better
Mm-hmm.
somewhat significantly. Now, if you're playing against someone who is not that experienced and you don't bet a large size, they're probably just going to flick the chips in. So I would probably be somewhat more cautious to use that smaller bet size, which might be a theoretical move,
Mm-hmm.
and just go for a larger size bet around the pot, or just a shove in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Okay.
yeah, that's where I would start to really, say, hey, Alex, you're out there. Like, I defer responsibility to you.
Yeah.
It
Would it be
it
wrong to check if an eight comes? You need to be trying to bluff there.
I think just because of how the eight coordinates the cards on the board
Mm-hmm.
so significantly, I would think that would be a slightly missed opportunity. But again, like, the most important thing is that in the individual hand you're playing, the play works out. And if we go all the way back to the flop,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're playing against someone who is just completely wild and they're not folding anything, you don't even want to make this raise right off the bat. You know, you can just call the bet and take a completely different path and just try to make your straight. Or maybe they check on the turn and you get to bluff the river. Like these are all
and I'll be able to
reasonable.
adjust. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly, yeah. And that's really the only goal with all of this, is just give you the tools so that you feel comfortable in various situations, and then you get to decide. And that's really what's fun for me about poker, is you have like all these different buckets of knowledge, and you get to decide how you want to implement them, and you know what sort of paths you want to walk down. Like I was a big fan of Bumps as a kid. Did you ever read this book series?
Oh, I loved Goosebumps. Oh, and I know they had the choose your own adventure. Like, what are you gonna do? Go to this page. Yeah.
Exactly. And for me, like that's one of the true joys of poker, is deciding, you know, do I want to call or do I want to raise? And then you have this constant butterfly effect of those actions that you make in one hand are going to affect both other players' perception of you and your perception of them as the game continues to evolve. And it's just this ever evolving landscape of like essentially self-discovery of poker, because you're just constantly in new situations that have never been dealt before, because the permutations of the way the cards are interacting is so massive.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, my camera just turned off. Sorry, 1 second.
No worries.
This new camera. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Let me just try to put it back in for a second. Oh man, it just died. Okay, sorry. And if you want to talk about like a Learn WPT or courses on there, feel free to do this right now while I fix it.
Sure. Yeah. So I make content for LearnWPT.com. I make instructional videos, generally 2 a month. We're also doing live workshops. We have one coming up in Choctaw in the middle of May. I want to say it's May 9th to 11th. We have one coming up at the end of May at the Venetian in Las Vegas. And we'll have more that are going to happen throughout the year.
Also, I'm just going to do a quick run to the bathroom. You can continue. I'll be back in like a minute.
Go for it.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're all good. So yeah, if you're going to WPT events and you're interested in coming along and learning a bit more about tournament theory, we have a really great system in place where we're going through some of the fundamental stuff in a sort of classroom setting, and then we also sit down at the table and we deal out hands and we have people talk through their thought process, kind of like I'm doing with Alex here. And it's a lot of fun, and I honestly just do it because I love it. So yeah, if you're into poker and it sounds fun for you, it likely is, and I would recommend you come give it a try. Let me pull up the Twitch and I can see what people are saying, because it's only so much fun if I'm talking to myself. So let's see. Anyone has anything interesting to say? I like the way he doesn't just assume chat has no money. I assume some people have money. The beard look was a fun time for me, but I think it was a phase that I won't go back to.
All right, I'm
Seems
back.
like people are enjoying it. That's good.
Okay. Oh,
Cool.
Oh my God! Did the camera turn off again? Okay.
I pulled up the stream. I don't see you, but I see myself.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more time.
It says they like my glasses. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just switch to webcam if it dies one more time. Okay. All right. I'm back and I'm ready to continue this hand.
So yeah, as it were, we turned to page 39 and we overbet the turn and they folded. So
okay,
that was exciting.
That was nice. I like these hands.
Definitely. Okay. So here is a fun example.
Sorry,
of where
let me
sort
switch.
of on the...
Let me switch to my to my webcam because I just got an error warning from our new expensive camera, and we keep having them break. Oh boy.
Technology can be fickle.
Okay, I'm fixing it. Sorry about that.
No worries. I would still be interacting with the chat, but as I opened the Twitch stream whilst my screen share was happening, my computer fan started going crazy.
I love that we're both having tech issues here.
I just thought it was best to say hands off.
Okay, all right, I'm back. I'm using the webcam.
Cool.
It is what it is for now.
All good.
Okay.
Cool. So this example, we're sort of on the other side here. And we come in for a raise on the button with 2 Broadway cards. Pretty reasonable play. And this time the big blind defends against us.
Okay.
And we get this interesting sort of board. It has some similar properties to the last situation, although it has some clear differences. And consistent with the theme, the big blind checks to the raiser. And I ask you, Miss Botez, what might you consider here with this kind of hand?
Got it. So I guess I'm the dealer, so I can also be playing a wider range of hands, and so can big blind. So it's not, impossible that I have low connectors or something like that, or that even I'm playing something like 9 queen or that maybe something like that. He checks to me. So every action must have a purpose. Okay, so if I'm checking through, that would mean I want to see another card. Maybe I'm hoping for something like a 10 and an 8, or a 10 and a king, something like that, but that doesn't seem very likely, or a queen or a jack, so that could improve it for me. Otherwise, I basically have nothing. I could try to get him to fold. I'm less familiar with when I should be doing things like that. Or because it doesn't feel like there's a reason why I would want to do that, but probably big blind is going to have less good cards than what I have, so I could try to push them out here if they checked. I guess I would probably, because checking isn't really going to improve my position. I just don't see how checking could help, so I'd probably make a bet here.
Yeah, you honestly gave great analysis. Like, that's essentially exactly what I was going for here. You can have various hands that interact well with this board because you are in the dealer position. So as far as raising first in goes, you have the widest range. The big blind has a lot of hands that miss. And then one thing I wanted to comment on was, you said, what am I hoping for if I check? An 8, a 10, a king, or a card that pairs you. All of that's true. And one of the nice things about betting with hands like this
Sorry,
is that...
I didn't mean to flip off my chat. I didn't even realize I was doing that. Sorry, chat. They've been freaking out. Okay, continue.
Okay. Should I say that again, or did they hear that?
Do you mind just saying the last sentence again? Because I kept seeing people freaking out in chat, and I didn't understand what happened. It was just moving fast to my periphery.
No worries. So basically, I was saying that your analysis was great. We have a lot of hands that do connect with this board, given our position. And the one thing I wanted to comment on was, you said, what am I hoping for if I check? And you mentioned an 8, a 10, a card that pairs you, or a king.
Yep.
And all of that is true. And the nice thing about using hands like this to bluff with are that all of those cards will still help you, and the pot is a little bit bigger. So that's why we would generally choose a hand like this to bluff with, as opposed to a hand like, let's say, Queen 6 of spades.
Yeah.
Queen six of spades just doesn't quite interact with this board as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to mention, you said, I'm not sure when to sort of bluff with hands like this. You can usually just sort of use Dan's advice that he gave you, and when they have somewhat equal properties,
Mm-hmm.
use the hands that have descending, like high card value. So
Sorry,
if you have a hand like,
can you explain that a little
yeah,
further?
totally. So if you have a hand like so let's just say our Jack of Diamonds was an Ace of Diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really need to bluff as much with a hand like Ace Queen. The ace is just a lot more likely to win us the pot if we check it to the river.
What if there
It
was one more
also,
person playing in this? Is it just because it's heads up?
yes,
Yeah.
very much is a heads up idea.
Mm-hmm.
If the small blind had called, because they're also in a situation where they can play a lot of pans,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the similar properties would apply. You would just have to tighten up overall your betting strategy
Mm-hmm.
for that same reason that we went over, where they're just entitled to a portion of the pot based on them existing in the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just often enough going to have a pair or a draw
Mm-hmm.
and find a way to make the best hand
Got
or
it.
bluff us. So yeah, the fact that we have queen high as opposed to king high or ace high makes us that much more likely to bet.
Mm-hmm.
Because if our opponent has a hand like, let's say, king 10, it's, kind of a middle of the road holding. They have 7, 9, 10. If they have a heart, it's even better. But if they face a lot of aggression, it's not that exciting for them. And another main thing that I kind of wanted to share with this is that on these boards where there's a lot of connectivity, any card, jack through 3, is either going to pair the board
Mm-hmm.
or bring a possible straight,
Mm-hmm.
and any heart will bring a possible flush.
Yep.
So I would recommend in these situations where you're the in position player,
Mm-hmm.
betting against a single opponent in the big blind.
What if it was
You,
small blind and big blind and they both had check through?
I would use a similar strategy. I might not bet quite as big,
Mm-hmm.
but I would still use bigger bet sizes
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that you're not always betting. So when you are betting, you're more selective about the hands that you're choosing to put chips in with.
Mm-hmm.
So the larger bet reflects that.
Okay.
So here, I would suggest even betting, a little bit more than the size of the pot, and you could probably bet even more than this. But this is just sort of a nice idea, and it
And this
reflects.
is because it's heads up that I could put that much in, like you just explained, which makes sense.
Yes, but you could make a pot-sized bet if the small blind were here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, say the pot was 1,700 and the small blind had called.
Mm-hmm.
Even betting 2,000 would still be totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
You're still applying the same principles, and the small blind's range is weak enough that they have a little bit of the same things going on as the big blind does. And this kind of is the perfect hand for this sort of action. You have 3 to a flush, 3 to a straight, 2 overcards to the board. Even your jack being a diamond and the 4 being a diamond, it's nice that if a diamond comes, they're less likely to have a hand like, let's say, jack 7 of diamonds or jack 8 of diamonds
Mm-hmm.
that would make a flush draw. So it all sort of is playing together really nicely to make this sort of play.
Mm-hmm.
And they go for the call. And now the 7 comes on the turn, which isn't exactly what we were going for, right?
Right.
Like, mostly we were going for them to fold, and then we were looking for, a card that, as you mentioned, improves our chances to win. And do you have any thoughts on how the big blind might play this situation?
Let's see. So they called or raised. Previously they had checked. They could have checked if they had a 7, let's say. So they could pretend that they have something like that if they want to scare us off here. Why else would they have called that? They could have called that if, I mean, I get there's so many cards they could have been playing it with. I guess when we, but I don't know what they would think that we have either. So let's see. If they check through, they're not really doing anything here. If they check through, what kind of card would they be waiting for if they called? It's not a, it's unlikely that they were hoping for a 7.
Yeah, I guess a good question to ask is, who is the 7 a better card for? Is it better for us or is it better for them?
I feel like it's better for them.
I agree with you. They call the big bet.
Yeah.
You know, we can have hands like this. They're much less likely to have hands like this.
Mm-hmm.
They can have a draw, but they're also pretty likely to have a pair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if they have a pair, right, then they have 2 pair now.
Or 3 of a kind.
Or 3 of a kind, exactly. So I guess it would make sense for them to bet here.
Yeah, so we don't know what their hand is, but the main idea I was looking to share with this hand example is when you call bigger bets as the out of position player and you get cards that are distinctly very good for the possible hands you could have had, you can make these kind of small bets. And you see, like, for our exact hand, kind of annoying. You know, we might be ahead of a hand like 5-6 or the like, where they had a straight draw. And, you know, we can't, there's not really a whole lot we can do. You know, we just sort of, in my opinion, have to fold this kind of hand.
Right. And we fold it because it's just, even with how much we'd have to put relative to the pot, it's just unlikely we're going to get a queen or a jack.
And even if we do, we still might not win the hand.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, so that would be a good fold.
Yeah. Also, our cards do interfere a little bit with possible bluffs they could have. And we just don't know. It's sort of a little bit similar to that example with the king-queen that we saw earlier, where we're just kind of guessing. You know, we're not totally sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes in poker, you do want to play hands where that's you know, that's the driving force. It's like, well, my hand's just too good. I have to stick around. But here you can see how this small bet that they make, it's pretty effective. You know, sometimes they'll have a hand like a 9, 8-9 or something, and you know they fold out our chance of hitting a higher pair.
Yep. Okay, no, this was a really helpful hand. Very instructive.
Yeah, it's a somewhat common situation in these late position against big blind. I know we'd mentioned we wanted to look at some defense strategies, so
yeah,
I thought this one would be good.
Yeah, this was a nice big blind defending.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh,
I'm going to actually save this hand for last.
Okay.
We'll save that one for last.
Okay.
We'll go with this one first.
All right.
So here, we have MP2 open to 500. Hijack calls. And then here we are on the button. So this is a playable hand, right?
It is. We're on the button. We have 10-9. Definitely a playable hand. So is it a call? Oh, I mean, they already raised us. Okay, so I'm guessing you wouldn't give me the... I'm doing the thing where I'm like, why is this a puzzle that I do in chess, which is actually not helpful, but it must mean that it's not obvious if you call or raise here.
Correct.
Right. And I guess the benefit in raising here is maybe you're scaring some people off, and this is also a good kind of card to play against high cards, because then if middle cards come, you have more likely chance for a straight or things like that. So you're also in the best position here. Yeah, I would definitely lean towards raising this. Yeah,
that's a great analysis. Everything you said makes sense, and both raising and calling are viable options. It's definitely nice that when you raise these sorts of hands, you know, people will often assume you have a pair or big cards, and in all fairness, you often will. It's just important to make sure that you don't raise these hands every single time you get them. You want to be somewhat selective in terms of how you decide to do that. You know, I was thinking as I was making this hand, like, the best situation is where MP2 is an aggressive player to raise. You know, you want to make sure it's not someone who's limping in often, or rather just calling the big blind. And then once they raise, they have stronger hands. you want to make sure this is a consistent action for them, and that hijack is playing too many hands, and that would be ideal for this sort of situation.
Okay, that makes sense.
So here they both call.
Nice. Big
and
juicy
we're like,
pot.
okay.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
this is a fun pot to have. Sorry, a fun flop to have.
It is. And they both check to us, which is somewhat customary. They check to the razor.
Okay,
And
so
now what are we thinking?
all right, so we have a straight draw, and I don't know what it's called when you need another two of the same suit to get a flush.
Yeah, backdoor. So
Backdoor.
you need turn and river.
Okay.
So you can say 3 flush, backdoor flush, either way.
Okay, so backdoor flush and straight draw. I'm also assuming that like if you're playing middle position, you have some high cards there. So this seems like another one of those semi-bluff positions, but I'm playing against 2 players, so I would probably want to size it not as big as I would if it would be heads up.
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's wonderful. So we go for a bet. It's not too big. It's not too small. The one main point I want to make here is that even though we don't have a good hand, we often will in these types of situations. We could just as easily have a hand like Jack 10 suited. We could have Ace Jack. We could have Pocket Queen, and so forth. So MP2 calls our bet, and the hijack fold.
Okay.
And the turn is an ace.
Ooh, scary.
And now they check to us.
Why do they check?
What do we think here? You said, why did they check?
Yeah, it'd be scarier if they raised me here. If they're trying to play as if they got the ace.
It would, but remember, they don't know we have 10-9, and we put in quite a bit of aggression. So the ace could logically be good for us, too.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Okay. Well, so we have nothing so far, but we obviously still have chances for that straight. If we just check here, we could get in a really bad position where we just don't hit it, and we're basically going to be forced to just give up the entire pot. So it does feel like we're in a position where we need to raise, and then the question would be the amount we want to raise into here. Obviously, the goal would be putting enough that we're trying to get them to fold, and if they call, at least we still have an out. And we have been playing very confidently the entire time, so there is good reason for them to believe that we do have something. Although 4-8 Jack, not the prettiest flop for people who have high cards. So how much would I bet here? Maybe I'd put like a 1/3 pot bet, or I guess you have to bet bigger against someone. Maybe like a half pot bet here.
Yeah, honestly, great analysis again. I think that both of those bet options are reasonable. The ace is quite a funny card in that no higher cards come. But at the same time, they might have improved to 2-pair, or they might have been slow playing a set. I thought this was a reasonable bet size to use.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh.
My
No
browser
worries.
lagged. Yeah, I thought this sort of like middle of the road sizing was reasonable. It still allows us to bet a hand like Pocket Queens.
Yep.
Or Ace King, or something of the sort, where we're not forcing out all worse hands. They have a tough decision with a Jack. They don't really have an ace that often, is sort of the main idea here. So we can be pretty aggressive, particularly with these types of hands that, similar to other examples we've seen, we need to bet to win with. So yeah, I think you did great there.
And then if they would do something crazy, like it's very likely on the poker game, then you'd probably just fold here, and it's okay, and you just take the L.
Yes, exactly. But it's a type of situation where you could justifiably have some very good hands. You having even top 2-pair or 3 of a kind isn't totally out of the question. So I think, while I'm sure some very unusual things will happen tomorrow, I would guess that you'll be able to find patterns emerging in the way that those bizarre sort of actions take place. More than likely, yeah, you'll be able to see like, okay, like this player likes to bluff in these types of situations, or this other player, chooses these sort of instances. It
Or
would
I
be
have
quite
no idea what this player is doing, and I don't think he even knows what he's doing. Let's pray for the best.
well, sometimes even if someone doesn't know what they're doing, you can still find a method to their own madness. And I'm not saying that always is the case,
Yeah.
but there are often ways to arrive at conclusions where it's like, I kind of think I know what this person's doing, even if they seem to just be, uh, quite reckless.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I definitely encourage you to try to figure that out. I'm sure you will. I mean, that's largely what makes poker fun. But honestly, I'm quite impressed with how well you're doing here, and I'm pretty confident for
Yay!
you tomorrow. Yes,
Aw, I
totally.
appreciate it. I love the positivity. Thank you.
Yes, I'm just being honest. I think I would be a bad coach if I was like hyping you up and I didn't feel it was warranted, because then you'd have false confidence, go out there and just get shredded.
Right. No, that
And that's not my goal.
that is fair. That is fair. I'm trying not to get shredded, but honestly, it's just gonna be such a fun poker game regardless, and I really enjoy studying poker, and because I'm doing this and partnering with WPT, I get to play more events this year, so regardless, it'll be fun. I'll learn. It'll be the craziest poker games with the kind of company we have there, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm super excited too.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome to watch, and it's fun to sort of live vicariously through your poker evolution. I'm definitely excited to see how you evolve as a player in the months and years to come.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So
This was the
last
hand you
hand I
wanted to
have
save
here.
for last, so I'm excited to
Yes.
see it.
So here MP2 raises,
Hmm.
and what do you think here with these kings? You look down. You have the second best starting hand. You're pretty pumped up.
I am.
And now what?
I am pretty pumped up. I mean, I'm sure the range says to raise here, like with king probably from almost every position. I guess here it's like, well, what do you do after somebody already does? Do I limp in or do I raise? I mean, I would definitely raise here unless like I'm trying to be sneaky for whatever reason happened in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super standard spot to raise yourself, but
Mhm.
you know, if like Jimmy's on the button, he's like, "Hey, I'm going all in blind," and you have reason to believe that he's going to do that, it would make sense to not deter him from that kind of action.
Right, right.
Uh, Nevertheless,
Don't determine the people, don't deter the people who go all in, so maybe just check. That's very funny. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, let people play into the strength of your hand.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So we re-raise and they call, and okay,
All right.
pretty innocuous looking board.
Yep. It's weird for someone in MP2 to have played with something that would have been good for this. Unless
Yeah.
it's a creator and they don't play ranges. Then I don't
Even
really
still,
know. Yeah.
it's worth noting that like someone who could have like a 3-4 suited here, for example,
Hmm.
they can also have a 7-4 suited, or a queen 7 suited, or any like the width of the possible hands they could arrive at this decision point with
Hmm.
is often it doesn't lean them in directionally towards a 3 unless there's something very specific going on.
Hmm.
So it just means that they're going to have more hands overall. You do have to sometimes be careful. Like sometimes, players will play in such a way where they really go for that, like effective sneak attack. They're like, okay, I could have a 3 here. Alex basically never has a 3. I'm going to try to bluff her and put all the money in.
Hmm.
So there is some sort of awareness you have to have about savvier players like that. But yeah, generally this is just a great board for you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so here I do have something. I have king. It's a good pair unless my opponent is, going for some kind of straight as we talked about, or has something suited and has the backdoor flush draw. This definitely feels like a I guess what kind of cards could come up next? I mean, my position isn't going to be improved from here. This is about as best as it gets. So I don't even know if I'd want to see the next couple of cards unless somehow opponent would make a pair or something and it'd lure them in, but it doesn't really feel like what I should be going for. Maybe an ace could come too. Not that it seems likely, but yeah, it feels like the intuition is to raise here for sure.
Yeah, betting is a good choice. And one main thing I wanted to point out here is that you happen to have kings. You could also have a hand like 10-9 suited, which we saw in the last example. You could have a hand like ace-queen. There's a lot of different hands you could have here. And when you get a board that is this sort of innocuous, when you've re-raised a middle position raise yourself in middle position, you can just go ahead and bet every time on this type of board.
So would
Just
I
on
bet with this kind of board, like almost regardless what kinds of cards I played with here?
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. That
Yeah,
is a
and
good point.
it's really nice to understand those situations in poker, just like we went over earlier, where if you raise and the big blind calls and an ace comes out, you can just bet indiscriminately of what kind of cards you have. Same thing here. Like, this is just a good enough board, a good enough situation. You can just always bet, and that'll work out well for you. They're just going to miss often enough. And then even if they call, you can then decide, okay, do I want to continue applying pressure? You still have these types of hands that you can base your strategy around. So I thought betting around half the pot here is fine.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to give them too easy of a chance to call, and yeah, they still have various hands that might stick around. So in this case, they do. Turn is a 10, and it brings spades. And they check. So what say you now?
Okay. They checked again. Doesn't give me confidence that they have spades or that they're going for them, unless they're playing. Yeah, because I feel like if they had that, then they would have probably raised a little bit.
They could have just always checked. You could still have a 10. They might choose not to bet any hands here.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so how does a 10 change the texture of the board? I mean, I could have a 10, but I was playing pretty confidently before as well. So like maybe I was playing as if I had some kind of pair or some kind of high cards, since I was raising. Those are definitely kinds of things that I could have had in this position. This didn't really change anything again. I still have king. I still have the top. I actually, oh wait, I still have the top pair, so I'd probably raise again here.
Yeah, that's totally correct. I had us betting, around 60% of the pot. You could bet bigger. It's, it's fine. Either way, really. This is a hand that, you have the spade. So if they happen to have a king queen or king jack sort of holding, they can't have a king high flush draw.
Yep.
They could still have a hand like ace jack of spades and be playing off the strength of the ace high.
Yep.
And now have an additional flush draw.
Okay.
So they go for a call. At this point, I would sort of be thinking, okay, this player probably has a pocket pair. They could have, a rare slow played full house or something of that sort. But usually what you'll see here is somebody has like nines. Maybe they have ace 10, that sort of hand.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so a 2 is like those kinds of throwaway cards that don't really change stuff. But in this case, maybe because it's 2, 3, 5, we're getting some connectors over there. So I guess we'd see how they play. And then I'm going to ask you also how we would have played this if there was one more spade that came. But I'll ask that after. So, okay, let's see what they do here.
So they go for...
They do another check. Okay, interesting.
They do.
So when I was prepping for heads up, Dan would always tell me, like, if you have a pretty like good hand, sometimes you just want to check through and show. That being said, they haven't. So I would obviously either check or raise here. Only options.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think they would have called everything if they were waiting for a 2, because that just seems unlikely. that they would have played it like that just for a straight. If they have any kind of pair, I probably have the highest pair here, so I could probably try to extract a little bit more money out of them. So I would raise.
Cool. And what size do you think?
And I would definitely raise too, because if I check, I'm getting that amount. If I fold, I still get that amount, so this just makes it likely that I get something. So what amount? I guess I'm trying to think if something like half pot. I'm trying to think what if I think it's very likely that I have the best hand here. What amount do I think they would call to see? So maybe like 1/3 to half pot.
Yeah, so I think practically that might be a reasonable decision. The more theoretical approach would be to, on the river, particularly when you're in position, when you bet here, you're sort of stating with your bet, I either have a really good hand or I don't.
Yeah.
And usually when it's those types of situations, you want to bet on the slightly larger size, or side rather. So I had us betting 1,000.
Got it.
That might be out of character for the way the game is playing. You might feel like if you make a bet this big, you're too likely to get your opponent to fold. But in that same respect, then maybe you want to use it as a bluff.
Yeah.
So
That's
there's a
true.
lot of
They're not gonna.
type stuff.
You're right. They're not gonna. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. A bigger hand because they're not sure if I'm bluffing or if I actually have a good hand if I'm trying to push them out here.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
And in this case, they do call, and Alex wins a great pot. And they don't show their cards, so we don't know what they had, but we won the money, and that's what's most important, right?
That's really funny. I like that all of these have been really positive because it's just creating the vibes that we want for tomorrow.
Yeah, well, not all of them. We were still pragmatic. We lost a few pots, but we won the ones that mattered.
Yes, no, that is true. That is true. So if the last card had been a 2 of spades, and they all of a sudden raise, how would we think about that?
So you're saying at this decision point,
Yeah.
if the 2 of spades had come instead of the 2 of hearts, and they bet out into us, yeah?
Yeah, and they bet 15,000 after a 2 of spades.
Yeah, well, that's a situation where you really have to ask yourself, how is my opponent playing? What sorts of hands could they possibly have that are worse than mine? The hands that are better than you are pretty easy to identify.
Yeah.
Basically just in ace high flush. You could have slow played a hand like pocket fives or pocket tens. You could even have a hand like 4-6 if they're particularly loose. Ace 4 is also a possibility that makes a straight. It's a tricky situation to comment on generally because...
What would you do if it was Tom Dwan? Like, I'm already nervous. He's really good. He's a pro. I've been playing well so far.
You're not nervous. You're just pretending to lure him into your trap.
Exactly.
Yes. I don't think Tom would be that inclined to bet out in a situation like this because, for starters, your hand looks really strong, or it looks like it can be strong. You could have been bluffing, but you could also have a hand like, we have here in this example. Additionally, you yourself could have a flush, right?
Yep.
Maybe you had a hand like King Jack of Spades, which would be, totally reasonable to play in this fashion. And yeah, he doesn't know that. So I think if Tom bet out into me in this situation, I would assume that he thinks that I'm unable to fold good hands, and I would fold. And one of the main reasons is it's hard to identify what he's bluffing, right? What did he call twice with on this kind of board? If the 2 of spades had come on the river, no draws had missed. Like, he would have... You're hoping maybe he has like a 6-7, but that doesn't seem super realistic. Maybe he has a hand like ace of spades and a queen of clubs. I mean, that's a possibility. It doesn't seem like there's all that much that he would choose to suddenly bluff with, and I would feel like he's just trying to extract value sometimes, pros might do that if they think you're not going to bet a sufficiently large size, or if you'll get scared and fold against a raise. They'll sort of price their hand in a way that they feel like is likely to get them paid most efficiently. But yeah, I mean, these are the types of situations that it really is challenging to comment on too generally because it is so situational.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean,
But you have the tools, you
I
have what you
do.
need.
I do. So,
Yes.
okay, so going on the pros, and I know we talked about this a little bit. So, Alan Keating, he plays pretty wild. He does a lot of action. Obviously, it'll still depend on the game. Anything else about his reputation?
I mean, he really is a fairly wild player, but he's thinking through his decisions. He's not,
Yeah.
at least
No,
most of the time, he's not just.
I respect him as a player. I'm not saying that he's just playing anything or anything like that. I
Yeah.
know he's a pro. I know he's good, and
Right. As far as specific things go, trying to think. No, I mean, he's pretty crafty. Like it's it's this sort of thing where I can't really tell you anything specific because it might just backfire. Like I don't know that I can helpfully share any type of information. I also don't play against him often. It's been a few years since I've played a cash game with him.
Okay, that's fair. Well, this has been really helpful. My hands yesterday, I think I didn't really have great questions from them. I did discuss them after, and I think a lot of the folds or things like that made sense. Also, yesterday's poker went well, and it's harder to learn when you're winning, which is actually funny. It's kind of like in chess. But let me see if I had any hands that I saved that I wanted to ask about.
Okay,
just real
please.
quick before I let you go. Okay, so hang on. All right. Oh, my notes. Oh, okay. One, I had Queen Jack offsuit, and I had 5 big blinds in tournament style.
Okay.
And I decided to go all in on that. I didn't know if that was okay. I don't remember. I think I was in late position too.
Yeah. The only time you wouldn't go all in with that kind of hand on that short of a stack size is if there's something very specific situationally happening with the tournament, like either you're right near the payout or you're at the final table and somebody has like, one big blind and you're about to get a pay jump, but barring any of that, it would be an automatic shove.
Got it. Okay. And my other example was I had Jack 6 suited of hearts, and I was on the button. Everybody checks through. I think I checked there. Is that a situation where I should have considered raising?
Sorry, are you saying multiple people called the big blind in front of you and you called as well?
Yeah.
You could raise them if you think they're weak, which they might be. Your hand is not that strong though, so if they call you, you're gonna have to navigate some dicey situations after the flop. I think calling is okay. It does kind of depend on your stack size. Like if you're on that shorter stack size in a tournament, I would generally just avoid playing these hands.
Yeah.
And wait to play more aggressively. Like if you have 10 to 20 big blinds, I would just fold it. If you have like 50 or more big blinds, you're on the button, you have a suited face card, it's justifiable to hop in there.
Okay. And then what showed up was a king of heart, a 9 diamond, and another king of like spades or something. And everybody checked through, and then another heart came up. So now I have the flush draw. Under the gun, raised 30. The only other person left folded, and then it's up to me, and then I called the 30. I should have written down what the blind was, but I was trying to write these down while also playing. And then what happened in this situation is 5th card, no heart comes, under the gun raises, and I just fold because I didn't get it, and that's fine, right?
Yeah, totally. It would be too ambitious to try and bluff on the river. with this kind of hand.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I thought as well. And let me just see, because I think I took a photo of. Oh yeah, of one of the hands that I played. Okay, so I had Ace 8 suited. I was in early position. I played that. 2 of diamonds, Jack of hearts, 9 of diamonds comes up. Somebody puts in an aggressive bet, and I just fold.
Yeah, that's. And when you said you played, did you just call the big blind, or did you
Yeah,
come in for a raise?
I don't remember if I called or raised. I may have raised.
Okay, so I would hope you raise. My recommendation would be to always raise first in. I think it's a just a good way to sort of have a baseline strategy. And if somebody calls in front of you, then you can decide if you want to call, raise, or fold. But I would caution you against just calling the big blind if you're first in, with the exception of being the small.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to take notes on this.
No worries. I'm
Okay.
familiar with this.
Sorry, some people in my chat are being negative, and I'm giving them times up. Okay.
No, what are these people doing? Don't they know?
Yeah, no. If you the new thing I'm doing is if people are just overly negative in chat and it kind of ruins the vibes, I'm just gonna time them out because it's not fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, honestly, I think most of the hands were kind of straight. Oh, I also folded a Jack King offsuit when there were, I folded Jack. Oh wait, no, I didn't. Never mind. This one is too blurry. I can't even see it. Okay, I think we're fine. I think this hand review is just super helpful, and my notes are just not clear enough. It's much harder to take notes in a fast-moving live game than when you're online and saving the games and trying to play through the next couple of hands. So it was a little bit hard.
Totally. And I mean, you won't have to worry about it because all the hand upcoming will be on stream.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you want to review some of those after.
Yeah,
that
would be great. I would love to do a hand review game. Chewy, this has been so
totally.
helpful.
I'm down.
Thank you so much, you
awesome.
guys.
I'm glad. I
was just gonna say,
I'm legitimately confident for you.
Really? Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Like when you're analyzing your decisions, you're thinking about a lot of the right thing. A lot of what I think is gonna cause those ideas to coalesce is just the experience of you playing those situations and just getting more reps in, really. But yes, I think you're in a good spot.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And you guys, if you liked Chewy's lesson, command Chewy. I know you do a lot of stuff with Learn WPT, which kind of helps you with general poker strategies and things like that. If you want to see more of Chewy, and hopefully we'll have him more on stream because he's just been an incredible teacher and also just very motivational. So thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. And give me just 1 second to change the scene before you go off so I don't do any weird leaks. Okay. All right. I'm good here. Okay, thank you so much. Good luck in your tournament, and I'll follow up with you to see how your tournament is going.
Sounds good. Good tomorrow.
All right, bye. Okay, guys. Well, that was Chewy. Chewy was so nice. Yeah, no, Chewy was really great. I think that was a very, very fun lesson. Command Chewy, yeah. No, it's nobody's fault. He's so chill for a poker player. He is. I met Chewy for the first time when I got invited to the WPT Heads Up in Cabo, which was just very cool. And obviously, I know I'm getting invited to things like this because they're opening up poker for people who come from other areas and things like that. And I've been very fortunate that they have been working with me and that they have been great. Most people would have paid $1,000 for an hour of that lesson. No, I mean, Chewy is an incredible poker player, and to have him help us with that kind of hand review was honestly awesome. And this is what I mean by why I like poker. It is strategic. It's fun to think through. I do like analyzing hands, and for every poker event that I'm gonna play, for anyone that has, for any event that has the cards saved and things like that, I do want to do game review streams. Honestly, I still need to do that for my chess tournament too, which I need to follow up with Hammer. Hammer and I are having a call on Monday after this. For me, watching new poker players is like title players watching chess beginners. Look, man, if you've played a lot of poker, that's absolutely how it is. And I have been very transparent about the fact that, you know, I am a new poker player, but I really enjoy it. And, you know, I'm not afraid to try and learn. Okay, I was trying to get a poker group together, but nobody, we didn't get enough players, which is a little bit sad. Okay. Okay, cool. We got, oh, all right. Poker. All right, Ludwig tweeted about the event. Let me see if I can pull it up. Also, you guys, I was locked out of my Twitter for a while, but I got it back. Ludwig just tweeted about it. He's calling it a $1 million tournament. Wait, is it a tournament or is it a cash game? Oh god, I'm confused. Is it a tournament or is it a cash game? And why does Ludwig have a different time? Oh, he said 7:30 p.m. Oh, that's a little bit early. Wait. I thought it was a cash game. Why is Ludwig tweeting? Guys, all of our prep, what did it go to? Now we're... Okay, he's hyping the game. Okay, alright. Because yeah, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. Lud must be trolling, man, right? Okay, hang on. I'm gonna show you guys what he just tweeted, because this is, hang on. Okay. This is what made me, freak out a little bit. What is this? What's going on here, you guys? I didn't realize I was playing in a tournament, but it does look very pog. It does look very pog. $1 million tournament. The date is wrong. That's true. The date is wrong. Oh god, somebody gotta tell Ludwig that the date is wrong. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna send him a message. Date is one day off. Day off on your flyer. Just heads up. He already commented. Okay, cool. He knows? Okay, great. That's fine. Yeah, I definitely don't have some of my... Guys, I'm a newer player. I don't have all the terminology correct, and sometimes I say them wrong. But yeah, exactly. I say raise when there's no bet made. When I mean... I just use raise and bet the same way, but I will try to get it correct. And I'm sure I'll get better and I'll be fine. 1,000 people told him. Okay, cool. Alex showing up tomorrow with 50K to a $1 million tournament. Yeah. I'm gonna show up there and be like, hello, I'm poor, be nice to me. Meh. Okay, no, but it is gonna be hype. It is gonna be hype. Okay, yeah, he did correct it, and I'm pretty sure it is a cash game. So I'm just gonna do a quick little double check tomorrow. I'm gonna just make sure. It is a cash game, right? Anyway. Hi, Miri. How are you doing? I am playing against Helmuth and Dwan. Guys, I don't want to see people saying easy win for insert X Pro. You guys are here in our community, and we need some believers, okay? I do know how good pros are. You guys, I have played with Phil Helmuth in a tournament-style game before, okay? I have played with the pros. I know they're good, but it doesn't matter. I don't want people coming in here and ruining the juju, okay? We're gonna have a good time, and scared money don't make money. So I need you guys to have some faith, okay? That's enough. That's enough. We've beaten the pros before. We're gonna beat them again, okay? So shut up. Ugh. We need people to believe. Exactly. Oh, there's always a dark horse winning. Exactly. We'll be like that one guy who made poker super popular in the 2000s. Magic Money. I don't remember his name. He ended up winning. He wasn't that good. And it was great. Anything can happen. That's the fun thing with poker, okay? We're going to do our best. Moneymaker. Yeah, okay? It's going to be Alex Moneymaker. Okay, guys? That's what we're going for. And also, it's just going to be such a crazy game because people aren't going to, people are going to be playing like crazy. Honestly, yeah, the pros will have a hard time playing with maniacs. Have you watched Helmuth or Dawn play online? Yeah, I have watched them play online. What are you gonna wear? Well, as part of the WPT sponsorship, I am gonna have my WPT global patch on. So I don't know if I'm gonna wear this hat or if I'm gonna try to put the patch on whatever outfit I'm wearing. Moneymaker wasn't that good, but he won it all. Exactly! Alex Moneymaker, you don't gotta be so good. Sometimes you just gotta be lucky. Okay, so is there 4 pros, 4 content creators here, guys? Let me pull up the flyer of who's gonna be playing, and I'll give you guys a background of all because I know some people are just tuning in. So give me 1 second, and I will pull it up on stream because I think there's a flyer that has everybody on. Okay. Hang on, I'm pulling it up, friends. We're gonna do the overview, and for those of you who are new, I'm gonna explain what's happening tomorrow. Boom! All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the game that is happening tomorrow in... Okay, I'm gonna make it a bit smaller because I want to be on the scene too. 1 second. Hang on. Drum roll, please. Where is my webcam? Hang on. Okay. All right. Okay. So, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. In seat number 1, we have Alan Keating. He is a poker professional. He has been at this casino many times before. He's played in their shows. I just know that he's got a lot of money and he plays poker. He's kind of wild, but he can be crafty. Don't really know, but he's a pro. Seat number 1 is a pro. Up over there in seat number 2, we have the big juicer, xQc. Okay? And xQc, I don't know what to expect from him. I don't know how much poker he's played. I don't know how many buy-ins he's gonna do, but I'm just imagining full goblin energy, full goblin all-ins, and I'm not gonna underestimate xQc. Because xQc is so funny and he streams all the time, sometimes people think that he's not smart. I actually think xQc is very smart. I think he could be very good at poker, so we're gonna treat him like that, but I do imagine that he's going to be a crazy player. Okay, up next we have Alexandra BotezLive's favorite, your champion. Okay, chat, we're in this together. If you're watching my stream, you better be rooting for me. Light a candle, okay? If we win or do well, we'll do some kind of really fun celebration stream. So, like, look forward to it if we do well. If we do poorly, we're gonna have some Raid Shadow Legend streams. Okay, guys? It is the way it is. So, like, if you don't get motivated by rewards, get motivated by punishments. I need you guys, I need you guys to be having some support. Okay, up next we got Ludwig. If you guys watched our creator poker tournament, you saw the way he plays. I know that Ludwig does like poker. He has gone up with MrBeast before. In our poker event, he didn't have the best run, but that doesn't mean he's not a good poker player. He did play kind of loose. But again, Ludwig is also smart, but he's also pretty busy, so I don't know how much time he had to prepare this. The man couldn't even get the date right for the tournament on his flyer, so we don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Hammer is saying that Ludwig was faking it last time. For sure. In a creator game, you're never going to play as seriously as you would at something like this that is super high stakes, that everybody's there, you know, a little bit more competitive, people know the rules. Ludwig was also super helpful to all of the creators in the game last time. He was explaining things, so it is actually very clear that Ludwig is pretty familiar with poker. He's played before. He has an understanding. Him and Slime used to go to casinos sometimes. So, you know, Ludwig is a creator. He's not going to know poker as well as the pros, but he's not somebody to be taken lightly. Okay, up next, we got MrBeast. The man, the myth, the legend, Jimmy. Last time I played in person with Jimmy, it was on Poker After Dark. He came in an hour and a half late. He went all in on the first 2 hands he got, and then he got knocked out. If there would have been a buy-in, though, he would have never left that table. The man is, you know, not afraid of going all in as many times as he needs to. He has a crazy bankroll, so I imagine he'll do well. But on top of that, he actually has played a lot of poker, and he is unpredictable. You don't know if he's going all in with 6-9 offsuit or with ace-ace. Okay, he can do either. So he's actually going to be a very fun, crazy player to go against, and I think he's going to be someone who's giving people a lot of action. And yeah, he knows how to play poker, even if he plays crazy. I think sometimes when people play crazy, people underestimate them, but we are not underestimating anybody on this table. Everybody is pretty good. Okay, up next, we got Tom Dwan. For those of you who are poker original followers or things like that, you know how he is. He's one of the legends from when poker started being televised. You got the famous Durr poker stare down. That being said, he hasn't been as active lately, so like, you know, at least we don't have to deal with Phil Ivey. That's all I'm gonna say. Just kidding. I don't want to poke Tom. Tom has actually been nothing but nice to me, and he's very friendly, and we like Tom. Tom is great. And he's a very good player. He's probably going to try to clean everybody up. So, you know, Tom, Alan, or Phil, they might run away with everybody's money. We'll figure out what happens. Okay, great. Up next, we got Phil Hellmuth. All right, we know that Phil is also one of those classic OG poker players. He had a very funny reputation for all of his rages and things like that, but in reality, he is just a nice guy. I call him Poker Boy, he calls me Chess Girl, and we really have a cool thing going where I feel like we should have our own superhero show. Honestly, we should just unite against the rest of the people because we just have great chemistry. He is also a walking billboard. The man has more logos on his shirt than I've ever seen in my life. Not that I should be talking, because since WPT is covering my buy-in, I might just start slapping that sticker everywhere on my body. That is okay. That is okay. And up next, we have Slime Machine, who also came to the creator event. I think Ludwig is covering his buy-in. That was the rumor I heard. I don't know if that's true, but that means he's also staking him, which is great. Slime has actually played a lot of poker before. Slime knew more poker terminology than I did, so I actually think he knows more poker than me. So I'm going to put him, you know, above me in terms of the poker knowledge. And also, he was super nice at the creator game. He was helping people. He was staking slicker. Slime is just a nice guy. You can't even root against him. That being said, when you're at the poker table, there are no friends, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get them all! Okay, let's go. All right. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. That's how we're kind of going with this. It's going to be a lit stream. Like I said earlier, I would love to see xQc versus Phil Hellmuth. Love to see some rage there. Alan Keaton versus MrBeast. That would be pretty fun. Tom Dwan is just a freaking legend. Any hands there are very cool. This is going to be a fun table. It's going to be on Ludwig's YouTube channel and on Hustler Casino. If you guys can watch it on either. If you're more into like a content creator and you want that kind of chat experience, watch it on Ludwig's. If you want like the serious poker tryhards commenting in chat, then you could go to the Hustler Casino Live. Really, whatever vibe you're going for. I think this is probably going to break records in terms of viewership for live streams for poker. I don't know. Even with people like xQc and his crazy juicer energy, the chat is going to be wild. So regardless what happens, it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a fun time. So I hope you guys can tune in. Yeah. Okay. That was my rant. I think I did a good job explaining everybody who's playing. How much is the buy-in? The buy-in is $100,000, ladies and gentlemen. 100, the big hundo. 100 to 200 small blind, big blind. As I mentioned, it's 100 buy-in, but it's only 50K. It's only 50K per game. I have 2 bullets. My first 50K is sponsored by WPT, so if you guys want to check them out, you guys know who the WPT is. It's the World Poker Tour. They throw the best poker events, and they also recently launched WPT Global, which is a site where you could play poker, but you have to be outside of the US. And they also have Learn WPT, where people like Chewy, who just coach me, give lessons and their strategy and things like that. How does Papa Botez feel about you playing poker? Papa Botez taught me how to play poker when I was 8 years old. Papa Botez let me take over his games that he was playing when I was 10 years old. Papa Botez used to read poker strategy books, and he'd actually watch the games. We would have family games, and it would always end up... So it would be Mama Botez, Papa Botez, Andrea, who's like a toddler. I don't know why we even included her, but, you know, she got older later, so it was fine. And me. Mom would always give up at some point, give her money to Andrea because she was the youngest. Papa Botez and I would complain about how that wasn't fair and, like, what's the point of playing games if you don't follow the rules. Andrea, she was very young. She had no way how to play, so she would, you know, end up losing all of her chips and redistributing to me and Papa Botez, and then it'd always be me and Papa Botez going heads up for a while, okay? So, yeah, that was... that was... Oh, yeah, that was kind of how it went. Yeah. Phil, thank you so much for the raid. Phil, thank you. Appreciate it. I hope you had a good stream. I know that Joey's gonna be commentating. Joey is really funny, and I like Joey a lot. He's gonna be a great commentator. Hammer said he'd love to play poker if I'm gathering a group to practice. I just haven't gotten enough people yet, and also I haven't gotten any exercise for a while. So if I do play poker, I just need to leave the house and get some exercise. I have not been super healthy, and I want to go before sundown. I feel like it's important. Right? It is important. Maybe can play a poker game tomorrow before the big stream to prep. Have I tried the Soylent? I did. And it was not as good or not as bad as I thought. It was honestly what I expected. Yeah. Well, I try to be healthy. I'm trying to eat healthy and do things like that, but I just need to make sure that I'm still exercising. Yeah. The stream is going to be on Ludwig's YouTube channel, as well as Hustler Casino, which we do have a command for. Shut up, LOL. Well, I like that you say that, because that makes me think that you think I'm very good, you know? So, honestly, post-exercise poker wouldn't be the worst idea. I would be open to doing that. I really need to get some exercise tonight. I actually get some exercise. Today. I need to be active and healthy. Joey's commentating on both. It's going to be the same stream, just restreamed. Same with how my creator event was streamed on mine, and how it was also streamed on Hustler Casino. Yes, guys, it's 50 grand of my own money, and that is the second bullet. The way I see it, I mean, this just seemed like a very cool stream and poker game to be at. I really enjoy poker. I want to make more content around poker, like the creator night, especially the ones where if we can work with the sponsors, the creators who come are getting staked and things like that, because it's a really fun game. You know, people do games for all kinds of tournament prizes, so I kind of see that the same way with poker. I want to do more things like that, so I want to keep getting involved in the content regarding that is related to poker. So yeah, that's why I decided to go in for it, and we'll see how it goes. There's going to be a lot of poker people watching, and, you know, maybe I'll get invited to more tournaments with free buy-in. We'll recover. It'll be fine. Yeah. Second bullet game is going to be the Ice Survive Sack, yeah. Would I ever add Train to it? Yeah, if you'd want to come. I just figured it's a long trip for Train to come to poker events, but I'd be happy to bring Train to a poker game. Yeah, exactly. Maybe you're not going to need a second bullet. Exactly. We're not going to need the second bullet. We're going to play well. We're going to learn. We're going to have a good time. And it's going to be a super unique experience that I'm really excited for. And it's going to be a legendary stream. It really will. And you know, when you're staking yourself, you really have to believe that it's going to be a cool experience, or there's no point to do it. It will be fun. It will be fun. Yeah. When would you need the second? Let's say I go all in at some point and I lose, and I want to continue playing, then I put the other 50k. I could also lose the first 50k, pretend I'm Phil Hellmuth, rage off, and run away with my last 50k. Okay? That is the other option. You know, we could just make it dramatic, be like, this game is rigged, I'm not playing anymore, pa pa pa, break shit, take my 50k, cash it out, and then we're fine. Yeah, you know, you don't know what's gonna happen, chat. You don't know what's gonna happen. Did we confirm cash or turn? I mean, I just assume it's a cash game. I think Ludwig is saying tournament just because he's trying to make it sound better for people who don't know poker, which you know, it's fine. People who don't know, don't know. Because 1 million sounds bigger than 1k. It's honestly just clickbaiting. It makes sense. I respect the mogul moves content plays. I should wear bunny ears. Should I get glasses, you guys? Oh, shoot. I forgot to tell you guys what Papa Botez told me when I told him I'm playing this. So let me read this. Okay. Okay. All right. I sent it to him, and my dad goes, "Baby, you are crazy. Like, actually, I think you're insane." I was like, "Well, look, I got the WPT to sponsor the first 50k. Second bullet's my own." He's like, "Yep, no, it's still crazy." I was like, "Well, look, it's gonna be a really cool event. I wanted to get in on the game." He's like, "I understand the reason," he says. And then I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "All right, well, I believe in you, baby. You can do it. Look, get some shades, like the one in the Matrix, and put a BotezLive logo on your clothes." Robert, I was told it's a cash game. It just got advertised differently. It just happened right now, but I'm sure it's a cash game, and that Ludwig just is trying to make it sound better. And let me show you. Yeah, and the glasses Papa Botez wants me to get. This is the most Papa Botez thing ever. He wants me to get these. These are not gonna look cool. They're called Shady Business Matrix Trinity sunglasses. It's just gonna look very awkward. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And add a black coat. Mrs. Anderson? Oh my god, yeah, just slick back my hair, have the hat on, and do all of that. Not sus. No, I'm the least sus person. Gotta make sure they're mirrored. Exactly. Is the woman who commented at the creator event doing commentary again? I am going to try to get the incredible Jamie to comment on all of our creator games if she's available. She is so funny and so good, and in person, she's just such a lovable human being. She's so bubbly. She's so cool to talk to. She's such a badass woman. I just have nothing but respect for her. Even when she roasts my poker play, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, she did awesome. Okay, it's going to be live one last time on Ludwig's channel tomorrow, as well as the Hustler Casino. Okay, cool. So you guys, I need to get some exercise. I have not exercised since the poker tournament. I mean, not seriously exercised. It's not the poker tournament, sorry, the chess tournament. I was being super healthy. This year, I told myself, I am going to take health seriously. Health is going to be number one. Yesterday, I had to go to urgent care because I had another issue. Everything is fine now, but I was sitting there. I was like, am I really taking health first? So, I am going to be diligent. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to continue eating healthy. I'm going to keep talking to doctors and making sure everything is good, and we are going to be healthy. It is the most important thing. And then later, if people want to do a poker game, I might do a double stream today. I'd try to stream through, but I need to get some air. I need to get some exercise. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Game is tomorrow. Very excited about it. Also, you guys, we have a new YouTube video, and we really worked hard on the edits. Like, we worked on this edit for like 2-3 weeks.
Gifted a tier 1 sub to Dr.
We're
They
trying.
have given 31 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're trying a new editing style, and if you guys have time to look at it and let us know what you think of the editing style, it would be really helpful, because the video didn't perform as well, and I couldn't tell if it was because people had already seen it on the stream or because people don't like the new editing style. So I'll show you guys a little bit of it, and then if you guys watch it to check it out, that would be really helpful. And then I'm gonna actually log off. 1 second. Beep bop bop bop. Ba-do bop bop bop. Sorry, we are getting ads. Oh gosh, a little too far. Okay. We need to log in. Whoa. Wait, let me pause. Sorry, I'm ruining this. Okay. Yeah, so it was this video. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of it. Oh. You guys can't hear it. There is sound. There is sound. Hang on. Hang on, don't be afraid. Alright, we're gonna watch it one more time.
I got you a rose.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
This is Kevin, and he has a secret.
I do have a little bit of a crush on Andrea, but we don't talk about that.
We have El Presidente coming up.
El Presidente.
Hello, Kevin. Nice to meet you.
Kevin.
Sorry, I just shook your hand improperly.
That was weird.
Where'd you get the suit? Really? So you put chess on there yourself?
Yeah.
Where'd you get it embroidered?
Back in my old football team, when I played football.
too.
Yeah, it means he's not any good at chess.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, hold up.
Too many brain
I got you a
injuries.
rose.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
sweet.
kinda weird.
Here, Alex, for you.
So I heard that
I don't-
Kevin has a little crush on you.
We've put
That's-
romance on the line. Too many YouTube
No.
thumbnails. What's your rating first?
Rating. I like to.
What is it, Rebecca?
Don't
22?
don't say
Okay,
it. Don't say it.
I'll be very focused.
All right, are you guys? Okay. Anyway, so this is the new editing style. We are experimenting. Like I know that not everything we do is gonna hit. But we are trying new things, and we're trying to improve, and we're putting more effort into edits and things like that. So the only thing is, we spent so much time on this, and this video from our last 10 videos was ranked 10 out of 10, which is honestly kind of, it really sucks when you put in a lot of creative time into something and it just completely flops. So yeah, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to learn. But if you guys haven't seen it and you check it out on YouTube and you leave a comment with your thoughts, I'm reading and trying to learn from it and improve. You think the live chess meta is dying off a bit? Well, it wouldn't be 10 out of 10, I think. The problem is when you, yeah, we have a link. We have a link. You just subscribed, you didn't know we have a channel. Yeah, we do have a YouTube channel, and we also have a clips channel. And honestly, the clips channel is, the clips channel is pretty good. We are working with Daily Dose now, so like we post several clips each day. And hang on, let me show you guys one of my favorite clips. One of my favorite recent clips. So this one's called Andrea Trolls Code Miko. It's true gremlin energy.
Stay still, perfectly still. You look, oh my goodness. Andrea! Robot broken. Andrea! Come on, stand up. Okay, amazing. All right, relax and pose perfect. And then we're going to... What happened? Andrea!
Sorry, I'm done.
And pose. Permanent and pose.
Okay, I'm done.
Commencing permanent and pose.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Andrea's a very good troll. It's funny to see her troll someone other than me. But yeah, we also have the clips channel, which just has like the best moments from all of our streams. And we've been posting several times a day. So if anybody wants to check out the clip channel, I will also link that in the chat. And if not, that's okay. But you know, just kind of showing you guys what some of the content and things like that we have been working on, because I do know I do know that we have been streaming less, but it's because we're trying to expand overall creatively and with the kind of projects we do, and also just trying to be wholesome people who also have some times with friends and families and are healthy. So, yeah. Okay. Chat, I'll try to be back later. Oh, you came from YouTube? That's awesome, Tiny Studio. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, chat, we'll see you soon. I'm gonna figure out someone to raid. Okay, let me see who is streaming. Let me look on here. Actually, it's hard to see there. I wonder if anyone is streaming poker. We can give Nemo a raid. Oh, is Minx streaming? I don't think Minx is streaming. Did she change her? Oh, she is. Okay, we'll give Minx a raid. We will give Minx a raid. She's talking about how our house is haunted. Okay. Alright, guys. We're raiding Minx. Minx is my roommate, for those of you who don't know. There have been some ghost encounters in the house, and everyone's freaked out. And I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm starting to get a little paranoid myself, and I don't like that we live in a haunted house. Haunted by Andrea? Yeah, potentially. Potentially. Thank you guys again for hanging on. I hope the lesson was good. We did have a witch come and brimstone the house. But people still say they're seeing things. So, I don't know. I don't know. Alright. Bye, guys. Take care, and thank you again.